Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Wednesday. Literally 2 seconds ago,
Our
neighbor turned his fucking stereo on. Unless that's a car going by, I don't know. But yeah, I was like,
we'll see.
That figures.
That might have been a car going by.
Maybe it was just a car going by, but I heard it start thumping, and I was like, God damn it.
Kind of not the right day for him to be fucking partying out there with his crew.
That's true. He usually does it Friday nights.
Yeah.
But and maybe
I think it's
Saturday.
gone. It must have been a car.
Okay, it must have just been a car.
Probably at the stoplight.
Stop
sign.
Yeah, because we're right on the corner.
Right on the corner, right?
Yeah. So a couple of you guys seem to know who this motherfucker is. As CB says, this motherfucker is one of the most sickening serial killers. I'm actually surprised he's not better known. You know what I mean? Papa77 is here. Long time no see, guys. Yeah, where have you guys been?
Fuck you, man, dude.
I like the new opening. Thank you. Yeah, I did new openings for all of the shows. I thought it was about time. I don't love that one, but I might retool it like later on, but it's okay. SideQuest Hero is here.
SideQuest, what's up?
Yeah, Camp Guy says, I watched a video or documentary about this one. He's a real nut job. Should be good. Yeah. This dude kind of weirded me out because on the surface, he seems like a really, I don't know if he seems normal necessarily, but he just seemed like just a regular geeky dude. But in a lot of ways, he's kind of not. In some ways, he is like the stereotypical serial killer, but in some ways, he's not. Because, for one thing, he had like big gaps in between some of his victims. Like sometimes like 3 years or 5 years or something like that. He also didn't have a specific victim profile. His victims were in their 20s up to their 80s. He didn't pick on one race. He killed white women, black women. He didn't. It seemed like more just whoever kind of struck his fancy at the time. But, I mean, and he was one of those motherfuckers that after they caught him, because there's actually like a lot of footage of like the interviews, they said once they caught him and he knew that he was caught, he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. Like, he just went on and on for hours and hours. Even confessing to shit that they didn't know that he did. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, thank you. We're just going to write that down, too. And the way that he comes across, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, he comes across as not cocky, not cavalier, but you can tell that he's trying to impress them in a low-key kind of way. It's hard to explain unless you've seen it. He almost comes across as like, isn't this unbelievable, this shit I did? Like, I can't believe I did this, and blah, blah, blah. Like, but you can tell that he's kind of getting off on, it's like an edgelordy kind of thing. But he's not real overtly arrogant or anything like that. So it's just like a real weird
It's going to be a good one.
Dynamic.
Well, let me get my glasses, because I can't read anything. I forgot to bring my glasses. I'm getting blind.
Yeah, I'm super blind. These are my super strength glasses. I can even wear the big round ones anymore because they don't work because my eyes are deteriorating so quickly that they were like, I think 2.5 or something, or maybe just 2.0, but they don't work anymore. Everything's blurry. Yeah, Camp Guy said, who does he remind us of? Ed Kemper? Not sure. Patrick Kearney, maybe. Didn't he kill really fast without provocation? Yeah, it's like you can tell he's cray-cray. Oh, yeah, big time. But, he was another one, though, that had a girlfriend that was with him a long time. She lived with him and shit like that. And she had no fucking idea.
So he must not have been doing this in the house.
He did on at least one occasion.
Yeah.
Maybe two. I can't remember. I know that one of the victims, at least, that he brought her to the house. But she didn't... Well, she worked nights. She managed a convenience store. So she was gone at night a lot. So I think he would come back there like while she was gone and do
Pop
stuff.
77 says he's listening to this at work.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll try to... I was gonna say we'll try to be respectful. No, we won't.
He's probably got headphones on.
What are we talking about? Yeah. Yeah, Gramther says Dennis Rader had gaps too between killing and didn't differentiate on age. Kindred spirits. Yeah, maybe so. This dude, big necrophile energy. I feel like he was kind of one of those motherfuckers that I don't really even think he got off on killing the women as much as he got off on doing shit to their dead bodies, you know? I think that was his main goal, was just to have female bodies to use and to do things with.
So you kept them for a while?
No, he tended not to. Sometimes he'd keep them for a day or two, but I don't know if he actually kind of tried cannibalism too, but I guess it wasn't really his thing, because they're gonna come to that eventually. If you're already like raping and murdering people and using their dead bodies in various horrible ways, then it's might as well. It's like, why not try to eat some of them? We'll see what that.
Better way to get rid of them.
Yeah, he didn't like it though. He said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Camp Guy said necrophilia is gross to me. I'm a germaphobe. Yeah, for real. I can't even.
Get a doll.
I mean, they've got really good ones nowadays. Okay,
that doll's better than any mortal woman. No woman could have measurements like that.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that it's like, if they should just give these dudes just really realistic sex dolls and be like, here, go to town. Just leave everyone else alone, for Christ's sake.
Well, robots are coming.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wonder if that'll alleviate some of the... It's probably not, because I kind of feel like a lot of these jokers get off on a real person like being afraid of them. I guess you could program robots for that. As fucked
well, what
up
they'll
as
do
that
is they would just they'd have a certain program to where they could just torture a robot, keep a robot chained up in the damn basement.
I don't know why the fuck you'd want to do that, but okay.
Is there better doing it to a robot than a real person?
Well, obviously, but it's just like
they won't be conscious. So
the fact that you want to do that in the first place is pretty sketchy.
Probably wouldn't satisfy them. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you would think if somebody was doing that to that robot, there'd be some kind of a back channel for that, to where the intelligence agencies would fucking know
like
who
keeping an
you
eye
were.
on this fucking dude.
Keep an eye on that dude. Make sure that real people aren't disappearing
as they should. Because I do kind of feel like even if you did have that as an option, I think most of them would be like, maybe they'd be satisfied with it for a little while, but then they'd be like, this isn't really doing it for me, you know.
Like the little dolls of children.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they let them sell them here, and they said, well, it's better than, maybe it might save some children.
I mean, might.
You better keep an eye on fucking where those things are.
But I would keep track of the people that bought those for sure, just in case. So you have a little list to look back on.
I have a list in that area.
I'm not big about like people keeping lists of people that buy certain sexual things, but something like that, I'm just kind of like, yeah, we should probably.
Yeah, I'd probably keep an eye on that dude.
You'd probably keep an eye on those people.
Yeah.
CB said the Yorkshire Ripper's wife worked nights, and when she wasn't, she always went to bed at 9 p.m. Yeah, I just can't imagine. And I'm not saying it's like I'm no, it's perfectly possible, like depending on what people's work schedules and relationships are like. It's perfectly possible for the dude to be doing all kind of fucking crazy shit without her knowing about it. So it's like every single time I see a story like this where he lives with a girlfriend or lives with his wife or whatever, and like she had no idea what was going on. And I think a lot of people tend to be like, "How could you not know?" Like, I'm like, there's a lot of ways that you might not know.
Yeah, you know? She thinks he's working. He might have a day off that day.
Well, the thing about Sean Vincent Gillis though is that he was kind of a bum. You know the the stereotype of like living in his mom's basement, just playing video games all day, and not wanting to get a job. Mm-hmm. That was this dude. You know what I mean? Like his girlfriend worked and supported them, but they lived in. Well, we'll get into it. Like lived in his mom's house and all this other kind of shit. So yeah, he really did not want to have a job, which I get it.
You want to work, yeah.
Most people don't. That's why they have to pay you to do it.
He's like, fuck that.
But yeah. So he had a lot of free time, is what I'm saying. Mm. And he was like a very early adopter of computers, and early adopter of the internet, and was real into like video games before they were ubiquitous. You know what I mean? So, like I said, like a geek in the old school way. You know. Yeah, so Gramther says Gillis is at Angola State Penitentiary. Yes, he is still alive. Word on the street is the place ain't no summer camp. Yeah, I saw, I was watching some documentaries about him, and some of the people in the comments said that, yeah, he's in what they call Angola, Louisiana State Penitentiary. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, he's probably suffering in there. So it's like, it's probably the best possible
Angola was a plantation.
That could have happened to him.
Angola was a plantation type prison. One of the most famous in the South. it's like a city. They're free. They walk around. They can't go anywhere, though. They can't leave. And then at night, they lock them up in little compounds. So they have cell blocks and stuff, but they're mostly out. And I think they were cutting sugar cane, was it? Sugar cane or cotton? I forgot what it was they were
something
doing.
like that.
And
but that's where he's at. He's still alive, but I think he's in his 60s now, maybe.
it's not like a fortress prison where you're locked in cells. So you have to have a lot of time to go to a place like Angola, you know. And so they would rather go to, if you got life for 25 years or 15 years, you'd probably rather go to Angola than you would to be locked up in a fortress prison where you're just fucking.
Because at least you get to walk around outside.
Yeah, where you can go walk around outside. That's it. You know what I mean? Maybe you can go out on little fields, but there's nothing to do. In Angola, you could have a whole life. I mean, they have the famous Angola fucking rodeo, where they're fucking trained to do rodeo shows. They keep them busy up there. That's because that's long-term incarceration.
Yeah.
And if you don't give those dudes something to do, it'll get real violent. Because what do they have to live for? So they keep them busy. But they got trustees and shit, you know, fucking. Some of them can drive trucks and leave the compound. You know, they got guys with them, but, you know, they're working on the road, you know, like chain gang type stuff, working on roads. Fucking, they do shit like that. They're not going to run.
Yeah. I don't know if this dude gets any of those.
You can't run. But... You can't run from computers. You're never going to get a job. You're never going to be able to fucking get back into society. You'll never be able to get a fucking plane ticket to get out of the country. You can't run from computers. So they just don't run. And they're afraid probably that shit, if you run, they'll be reapprehended and they won't send you back to Angola. They'll fucking send you to one of the fucking prisons. They'll send you to a fucking fortress prison where it's just locked up, you know. Or they have things like that in Angola. All prisons do, to where it's just intensive incarceration, where you're just fucking locked up in cells all day. You get 1 hour out a day to, you know, Hannibal Lecter type prison, you know. That'd drive you fucking crazy. That would drive you fucking
crazier than they already were.
Yeah, I couldn't handle fucking 5 years of that. I don't think 8 years. That would fucking break you. Yeah.
CB says he didn't need money. Dead bodies are free. I mean, you got me there. Grampter says, I think they allow conjugal visits.
Yeah.
Probably
Probably
I'm assuming I've seen like a lot of interviews with his, you know, girlfriend at the time. I don't think she's gonna go visit him. She just as soon as she found out that he really did what they said he did, she was like, bye. She's like, I'm out. So you know, good for her. But yeah, if you watch the documentaries, she'll probably be interviewed on it. But yeah, I just can't imagine. I'm always kind of fascinated by serial killers that have wives, girlfriends, kids, stuff like that. Because it's like, how would that feel to find that out? Like, and you had no clue. She did not. She was completely and utterly blindsided.
I guess what happens is that your loved ones rationalize it, and they just go, well, this is like a mental illness. You know, this is my dad or whatever. He's just got some kind of mental problem.
Well, I mean, that's true.
He's mentally ill. So I think that's how they rationalize it. Which it is a kind of mental illness, I would think. You're fucking crazy, though. I'd fucking destroy you. You know, especially that weird shit that they do. Oh.
Yeah, I'd just be like...
I'm for the death penalty. Death sentence for that. Yeah.
If I found out, like, a relative or something like that was a serial killer, I'm like, I'm not going to visit them.
Yeah, fuck
like,
that, too.
No way. Fuck that.
Yep.
If they, like, prove that they actually did it, I don't think so. I'm not forgiving that. I'm not that forgiving of a person.
I'll break it off.
You know what I mean?
I'd break that shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, CB says in the UK, serial killers and sex offenders are not allowed conjugal visits. Yeah, I feel like they probably shouldn't be, but...
It's rare that any kind of conjugal visit in the United States.
Yeah, it varies
Angola might.
by state, but well, yeah, Grampter said he thinks that
Angola might. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Angola is like a deluxe,
and they might not all get it.
No, dude, you'd have to earn it.
You know,
because you use these fucking perks as means of control on these guys. That's how you keep them behaving well. If there's no incentive to do anything, you'll lose control.
Yeah,
that's the problem with riot. You're right. They use psychology on them.
But yeah, so this guy, Sean Vincent Gillis, I was thinking about this the other day because you know how everybody says it's like why do they always refer to serial killers by 3 names, like by their first, middle, last name. I don't know if this is why, but I thought, I mean, it makes sense to me that it's like they always refer to them like that because they don't want somebody with the same name, like same first and last name, to be confused with that person. So it's like so whenever they refer to like their Wikipedia page or something like that, they'll usually put first name, middle name, last name instead of just first name, last name. I don't know if that's the reason. But that's the first thing my mind went to. Because what if your name was Sean Gillis? Which I'm sure people's are, because that's not really that uncommon a name. And it's like, you know, Sean Gillis, the serial killer? No, I'm Sean Howard Gillis. I'm not Sean Vincent Gillis. That's the serial killer.
Papa, one of our heavy-hitted supporters, just
thank you very much.
Send us a
thank you very much
gift.
for the super chat. Just because it's been a while, and you were doing my favorite subject today.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
It's kind of my favorite subject, too, as messed up as that is to say. Zach just got here also. What's
up, Zach?
Saying, hey, y'all, what's up? Talking about serial killers.
Yeah.
Talking about serial killers. But yeah, this motherfucker, I'm going to get a little bit more into this later on. This is kind of fucking crazy. So he was operating for about 10 years, from 1994 to 2004 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Interestingly, at around the same time that he was killing people, there were also 2 other serial killers in Baton Rouge. Same time. So I kind of feel like that's probably why it took a longer time to catch him. The crazy thing about it is that when they caught him, and they actually had evidence, well, they had evidence in one murder, and then they got his DNA, and then they linked it to 2 other ones. So they brought him in for 3, and then once they brought him in and said, bro, we have your DNA, he's like, oh, I also did this one, this one, this. So he's killed 8 women that they know of. Although he just was, you know, convicted of the 3, and I think maybe he was convicted of another one, like a 4th one, but maybe that was 2nd degree, I'm not sure. But yeah, he got like life in Angola, and like I said, he doesn't have a strict victim profile in the sense that his youngest victim, I believe, was 29, and his oldest one was 82. Race did not seem to be a factor. Some of them were white, some of them were black. Some of them he strangled, some of them he stabbed. Most of them he did mutilation to their bodies, like kept pieces as trophies, things of that nature. Or at least kept pieces long enough to like do fucked up shit with. And yeah, necrophilia, that was kind of his bag. And like I said, there were like kind of long cooling off periods like in between some of his crimes also, which, you know, it's not super unusual, but it's kind of uncommon because usually you have things where that kind of ramps up. So this motherfucker here, which is how I refer to most serial killers. So he was actually born in Baton Rouge. He's a native of Louisiana, and he was born in 1962. Now, his mom's name is Yvonne, and his dad's name is Norman. Now, his dad, I'm going to say he didn't, on the scale of fucked up serial killer childhoods, this one's probably 5 or 6, maybe. It's not like super fucked up and abusive, but it's also not unicorns and rainbows either. So his dad, Norman, apparently had a history of mental illness and was also a violent alcoholic. Story goes that once, when Sean was 3 years old, his dad put a gun to his head and threatened to shoot him. So that's nice. Now, I've seen different sources say, like some of them say that Norman left the family, like abandoned them. Whereas others say that after the gun incident, Yvonne was like, fuck this, I'm out. Which, you know, who can blame her, right? And I will say that Norman actually did end up spending pretty much the rest of his life in and out of mental institutions. So he had problems. And I'm imagining, then, that some of Sean's problems were likely genetic. You know, not entirely, but probably not great. So he basically gets raised by his mom and his grandparents. Now, his mom, by all accounts, absolutely adored him. And she actually worked really hard. She had like 2 jobs. She worked at a department store. She worked for like a TV station to like support the 2 of them. Now, his mom, this also, I hate to blame her in this situation because obviously it's better than beating the shit out of your kids. But there has been speculation that because she sort of coddled him and spoiled him, she was like, she just thought he was a perfect angel and couldn't do anything wrong. And weirdly, she thought that he was like super, super smart, even though all of his teachers that they talked to said, nah, he was just average intelligence. Yeah. He wasn't anything special. You know what I mean?
That's actually a theme in some of the serial killers that I fucking studied. McDuff was like that, and that bitch was a fucking total piece of shit.
Yeah.
But his mother just totally doted on him and wouldn't believe anything negative about him, yeah. And he would just would just like lie to her and he could get away with anything.
Yeah, which is also not great, right? Because yeah, obviously it's better than just like wailing on your kids, but you also can't just like let them get away with anything because they need structure.
One of the analysis that I read though is that the way the child interprets that is they interpret that as neglect.
Yeah,
that they can do whatever they want.
They can just do whatever they want, and no one cares.
And there won't be any repercussions. So in a way, bitch, don't care about me.
Yeah,
is how they interpreted it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it comes across, because you're just like, oh, you'll just let them get away with anything. Yeah, it's like, well, guess I can do whatever I want then.
Yeah, they don't all come out of that, but that seems to be one of the possible.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have, like I said, I've known a lot of kids that were, spoiled rotten and stuff like that, and they turned out pretty much okay. Some of them were douchebags, but they weren't like serial killers or anything. So I think that in this case, I think it was probably like a perfect storm of probably having some genetic proclivity toward mental illness, as his father had, and then being in an environment where his mom pretty much just thought he could do no wrong. So I guess he just kind of thought that he could just get away with anything. So, not a great combo. But like I said, as far as serial killer upbringings go, not at the extreme end of the scale, probably somewhere in the middle, I get the feeling. Now, even though, like I said, he had his grandparents there too, like they helped to raise him because she was a single mom and, had to work a lot, obviously, to support them. So she tried her best. I mean, you know what I mean? What are you going to do? Especially this is back in the 60s, 70s. But even from a young age, he was kind of a weird kid. You know what I mean? The neighbors said that he would sometimes like go be in the backyard like howling at the moon like a dog. Yeah. Shit like that. He also, when he got slightly older, he started bullying the other neighborhood kids. Also seemed to show a fascination with death pretty early on. I guess his grandmother owned or managed a funeral home that was near, the house where he lived. And him and his friends like to sneak in there and like sleep in the coffins and shit like that. Which, like I said, on its own, if you didn't know anything about the person that he became, that would just seem kind of morbid, but like not really that crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, kids do stupid shit. Like I wouldn't have thought that was super weird just in isolation. But, compared with all, put together with all the other stuff that he did, yeah, it's a little bit weird, especially since, he had like necrophile kind of shit.
She was talking about maybe like having some mental illness inherited through the father. As I've gotten older and looking back on things, I've come to believe in what some people would call epigenetics, where you can inherit some memories from your ancestors, from your parents, grandparents, whatever. It happens in animals, we just call it instinct, and some of that shit's very, very fucking old. Other people don't believe in it, though. But so it could be, I think, you're not really inheriting the fucking mental illness from a person, but you might inherit memories and behaviors that were handed down to you through a mentally ill parent.
Yeah.
Because, in an animal kingdom, you would need a little baby needs to have some means of defense. If they can remember a little bit of things that happened to an ancestor, because they don't have language, That would help them survive until they're old enough to form their own memories.
Yeah.
Because it was weird. Because when I was a little kid, my dad fucking remembered it. He's dead now. I had memories of things that happened to my granddad, and it's impossible because I never met him. He was dead by the time I was born. I told my dad, I says, remember the time when we were riding on a tractor and it fell over? And my dad went, no. He goes, yeah, we were on the tractor and the wheel went into the. I was about 6, and the wheel went in there and we flipped over, and we were laughing about it. And I can picture it, but I only have memories weird. I remember the memory of it. I can kind of see it happening. I didn't know it at the time, but my mother told me later when I was older, said that freaked him out. He went and told my mom about that. He goes, he remembers the time when me and my dad fell over on a tractor.
Maybe you're the reincarnation of your granddad.
Nah, it was memory, an inherited memory.
Yeah, that actually makes more sense. To me
Yeah, inherited memory of a traumatic event. Of my granddad driving the tractor with my dad as a little boy, wrecking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. And you know what? I don't have any kids, but I've heard other people that I know with kids say some creepy shit sometimes, like out of the fucking blue. So it could be.
Yeah. Well, my dad, when I was still in a stroller, my mother told me this too. I was in a stroller, and my dad was trying to unlock the door to the house, but he couldn't see it because it was dark. And fucking, he was getting frustrated, and I was in a stroller. I could talk a little bit, and I went, "God damn son of a bitch." As a little kid.
I would have laughed.
And my dad was like, "Whoa."
I love when little kids swear. That's so
goddamn son of a bitch. and he goes, my dad would say the same thing.
Yeah. You got grandpa memory.
My dad didn't say that. But he said, my dad.
Like, oh my God. Dad, are you in there?
It's not reincarnation. I believe it's inherited memories.
I mean.
And when you're little, I think you're running on instinct and possibly these inherited memories. But then by the time your brain starts to fucking mature, you don't need
it anymore.
Those inherited memories. And I think we inherited that from the animal kingdom.
I mean, it would make sense. It definitely would provide a survival advantage. So,
especially in animals.
In case it's just popping out the womb and be like, now what? I don't have any idea what to do.
How the hell does a fucking ant fucking know what to do? It comes out of the damn fucking little chrysalis or whatever. Fully formed, basically.
All right.
And it goes right to work. Nobody tells it what to do. It inherited that memory.
It just knows.
It knows it's very simple, but it inherited that memory.
Yeah. So there could be like little tendrils of that.
Yeah. I mean, how do you know to recoil from something that looks nasty like a spider or a snake? You inherited those feelings.
Yeah.
Then you can overcome them and pick up a snake.
Yeah.
Or a spider,
Because I don't have that. I don't have very good survival instinct.
No. I knew what was scary when I was a kid. I was instantly scared of spiders.
Now, I'll do that for cockroaches all day long, but it's like, you know what I mean. American Military says Ted Bundy's mom called him the best boy in the world after he was sentenced to death.
Mm-hmm. That was another one that was doted on.
Yeah.
But his mother also lied. He thought his sister... No, his mother was actually the woman he thought was his sister.
Yeah.
And the woman he thought was his mother was actually his grandma.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So that'd fuck you up.
Yeah, like I said, not fucking excusing it, but... Grampler says, yeah, I've got a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. If you coddle and spoil them, that's doing them no favors.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, they definitely haven't figured life out yet, and they need structure. You can't be too strict on them, because that's going to also cause problems in the other direction, but it's like, you can't be too lenient either. You know what I mean? You have to have, like, a good balance. Everything has to be kind of fair, and... Mm-hmm. Like I said, structure. You can't just... But, I wasn't there, obviously, but from everything that I've read, it seemed like his mom just thought he was great. I mean, this was her only kid. Like, she had one son, and that was it. So, and sometimes she might be one of those weird boy mom people, That fucking... I don't know. I'm kind of weirded out by the whole boy mom culture. It's just very strange.
I'm not even sure what that is.
It's like, it's this weird, I guess it's kind of, well, Instagram and TikTok and shit like that. And it's just.
Moms are just doting on their boys.
And making like their whole identity, like about how, you know, I'm a boy mom. And it's like, look how rough and tough he is. And all this other, you know, it's kind of weird, I think.
That's a modern version of the fucking pageant mentality.
Yeah, it's kind of, like women that have like the pageant daughters, kind of like that, but for boys.
She's a big old fat dumpling, and she's got this pretty little daughter who's in these pageants, and that she's living her whole life.
That's creepier than the
through
boy
that
mom
pretty
thing.
little avatar that she's thinking that that's her. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I find that really unsettling.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, it's just I find it really.
Because the little girl's something that she can't be anymore.
Yeah, it's just really
maybe it never was. You know,
and if you've seen some of those pageants, they're like really sexualizing children.
That's because those mamas
are
wishing that was them.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
As adults, that's the way they wish they looked like.
Fucking pedos go to that. They know how.
Yeah, they're wishing that they looked that cute as an adult.
Fucking creepy.
That's what it is. They're just displacing their identity.
I know, but to other people, it comes across as creepy.
Well, no, it's kind of creepy. It's creepy, but then the pedos show up to watch it.
That's what I'm saying.
That part's creepy, but the mamas, they don't realize it, but they're wishing they were those daughters. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's an avatar of them.
It's a weird. Well, I kind of feel like some people that, you know, like I said, I don't have kids, but some people that have kids, like, think that the kids are like them or like they own that kid. I'm like, that's a whole ass other person. Like, calm down. You know what I mean?
Well, the mama never had an identity and was probably rejected. Yeah. She has a daughter. The daughter's cute. Because all little kids are cute. You know what I mean? Because they're meant to be cute. It's called neoteny. They look that way to get adults to protect them.
Yeah, because it's like, look how cute I am.
So she's now displacing, like, I was never that cute. I'm not that cute now. And look at the attention that she gets. The more attention she gets, she feels like the attention's on her. Yeah. So in a way, and then she displaces her self identity onto that child. Yeah. So she starts living through that child. And that child's kind of the innocent victim, but the child's being doted on. Yeah. It's being rewarded for doing it. So what happens when that kid's fucking 14, 15 and starts to strike out? That mom's going, no, you're not going anywhere with my body. Yeah. Because she's been living
that's
been her avatar.
It's a very unhealthy dynamic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't live through
Well, I don't know how long the mamas actually can maintain that. They probably snap out of it.
I don't know. It's like, that might be a good show to do, actually. Yeah. One of these days.
Because what happens is the kid's going to start to grow up and start to look like her. Yeah. And then
it's like they're not going to be cute little kids anymore.
That's the problem.
Yeah. They're going to be surly teenagers.
Because they inherited her genetics.
And then they're going to go off to college.
Yeah, well, her genetics might have not been good.
Yeah,
that means that the man that got her pregnant wasn't that good. So as soon as that kid starts to get a little bit older, it's no longer cute anymore. Yeah. So then it's like she's like, oh. She might turn on the kid. You ugly bitch.
I mean, I'm sure it happens. Like I said, it's a fucked up dynamic, honestly. Yeah. I think that whole thing is like really fucking sketchy. Well, like I said, that might actually, I'm gonna write that down because that'd be a good show. That actually would do.
I'd like to see the data.
A good show about that. Like, there's a lot of documentaries about it. Yeah. Like I said, it creeps me the fuck out. But I mean, we did a show about John Benet Ramsey, and we might have talked about it a little bit on there.
Because I have seen this consistently. The young children of people who are actually really good looking, they got some funny looking kids. They grow out of it though; they're good looking.
It depends. You can never really tell. Like sometimes really good looking people, like their kids are kind of weird looking at first, but then they get good looking. Then they grow out. That's what I was gonna say. And then sometimes you have like kids that are like super super cute, and then they're just average or kind of funny looking.
Their parents are very average, and then they get older and they get average. Right?
Like it's just a crapshoot.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never know what's the little genetic lottery is going to spin up for you.
All children of all species, kitties and little puppies and even, little birds and shit, they're all designed to be neotenous. To fucking have the neoteny look. And it makes the adults of those species, even adults of other species, want to take care of them.
Like, look how cute.
A fucking lions will fucking tear a gazelle up. And if it had a baby, the female lions will try to protect that gazelle.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they'll try to keep it. But eventually another lion eats it.
Well, yeah.
And then she's like, you ate it.
You ate my baby.
They can't take care of it. Come on.
I have seen that happen a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was in the wild or if that was like on.
That was in the wild,
like a nature
It's
preserve.
been reported in the wild.
It's pretty. I mean, I get it, but it's like, especially if that
the females,
if that female like maybe had like maybe their baby died or something.
I think it's
like
universal. All females like things that are cute, little neotenous things that take care of it.
Yeah,
little bunnies.
Little bunnies.
Now, I don't think now a hawk doesn't give a shit about a cute little bunny. That's just it's higher
mammals. I don't give a fuck if it's a cute little bunny. I'm gonna eat it.
Social animals.
Yeah.
Social animals. Yeah.
Yeah, the hawk does not.
Yeah, no, they're not a social animal.
How cute that bunny is.
No, it's a bird, man. They're like lizards.
It's gonna eat its
It's a
face
dinosaur.
off. I mean, yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. So don't spoil your kids, is what we're saying. Like I said, don't be super strict either, but you can't just let them do whatever the fuck you want. Now, I will say, so like I said, he was sleeping in coffins, which, like I said, in isolation is not that weird. At least I don't think it's that weird. Maybe it's just me because I was kind of a morbid kid too. But you know, with all the other stuff going on with him, yeah, it's pretty weird. He also said, and he said this after he was caught. This was one of the things that he said during his marathon 40-hour interview. He said that when he was 12 or 13 years old, he actually fantasized about killing his female cousin so that he could touch her boob. But he wanted to kill her first.
Yeah, so she wouldn't tell on him.
Yeah. So,
How
like
old
I
was
said,
she?
I don't know. I think she was a couple years older than him.
How old was
maybe
he?
12 or 13.
Okay. All right.
But that kind of just goes
That's
to
pretty
show.
old to be fantasizing about shit like that.
I mean,
think about it.
Well, yeah.
I think an infant might fucking a 4-year-old might think. I like grab her boobs.
But I have to kill her first.
So tell her.
Well, like I said, I don't think it was that. I think he got off because, like I said, as we'll see later on, he kind of got off on doing shit to dead bodies. So I think he was a necrophile. That was like his main. That was his main kink, if you want to call it that. So I think that he was very aroused by the fact that he could kill her and then touch her boob, and she couldn't do anything about it, and she would be dead. Yeah. Like, he got off on being able to do things to dead bodies. Like, he liked pieces of dead bodies. Like, he was into that. Yeah,
it's an avoidance of blame and guilt.
Mm.
You could get away with it. No one would know. So you're not a bad. No one will say you're bad.
Yeah.
Weird shit like that. Something about the way his sexuality developed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the boy's not right.
Yeah.
He's not right. Also, and I'm sure this probably didn't help, but he went to Catholic school pretty much the whole entire time. And probably because of that, because of the weird proclivities that he had, he got, when he was a teenager, he got really interested in Satanism. So that was that too. Probably just as a rebellion against the Catholic school that he was at. Now, when he was about 17 years old, he actually reconnected with his dad for a little bit. And it seemed like the two of them had sort of started to repair their relationship to a small degree. But then he found out that his dad was actually gay. And he was very offended by this because he was super homophobic. And he was like, well, that's enough for you then, bye. And he never talked to him ever again. So there's that.
How did you find this out?
Well, his dad told him.
Okay.
This had been, many years since his dad had taken off.
Okay, yeah.
It was probably, 14 years or something.
So he found out when he was 14, 15, something like that.
He was 17. When he found out. And like I said, he was kind of befriending his dad again, but then his dad was like, hey, I got something to tell you, kind of thing. And then he was like, oh, fuck that. And he was out of there. Pretty much. That's
teenagers aren't real understanding of that kind of shit.
No. especially back then.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Sean Gillis was what you'd call, in those early days, he was like a geek or a nerd. He was way, way, way into computers and video games before they were ubiquitous and everyone had them. He's a very early adopter of the internet. Big Trekkie, that kind of stuff. When he graduated from high school, he didn't really want to go to college or do anything like that. He got a job at 7-Eleven, but he only worked there for a couple months. Like I said, he didn't seem to really want to work at all because he'd get bored really quickly, and he seemed like he wanted to be at home on his computer. Now, most of the time that he was home on his computer, he was playing video games or jerking it to freaky, violent, and snuff porn that he found on the dark web.
What
Like,
year is
in
this?
the
by
early
this time?
days. This is like 90, like or late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
So it's like I said, he was an early adopter of the internet. So this is kind of going on.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that's right. Around 91, 92 is when you could start actually getting online and buying things and seeing porn. I was in the Army at that time.
And he got in on it real early. He was really, really into it. So, but yeah, he had like lots and lots and lots of like snuff porn. And
It couldn't have been real.
I mean, it might have been. Some of it might have been. Or it might have been faked. I don't know. But that's what he was into. He jerked it to bloody dead bodies.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about fucking old sites like fucking goregallery.com and
Probably
shit
shit
like
that.
that. It was not really snuff porn. It was just like forensic. It was like accident scenes and fucking.
Well, yeah, it might have been some of
battlefield.
that,
It's
too.
just shit like that.
Might
Stuff
have been
that
some of
came.
that too. But like I
Some
said,
of it was crime scene photos that got leaked onto the web. Jeffrey Dahmer's pictures got leaked. Shit, fucking. I remember all that. But I don't think that was by that time. That was later, I think.
yeah, like I said,
I saw all of Jeffrey Dahmer's pictures.
yeah, I saw some of those. too.
Yeah, back like in fucking 97, I saw them all. They were up there on the web. The skulls and the dudes hanging in the showers and shit.
CB says
Wow.
we find the shit he was masturbating to all the time on customers' computers. Yeah, like I imagine.
Who
if
said
you,
that?
CB did.
See, yeah.
I imagine if you work at a place that fixes computers,
Yeah.
you've seen some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I don't even have anything that interesting on my computer, honestly. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So if I had to take it in, I wouldn't really be worried about it. But it's just kind of like. I can see how some people would be. They're like, "Yay, fix my computer!" And there's like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, call the FBI!"
I predict that eventually all fucking porn will be fucking AI. That you won't be able to tell the difference between real and fake, and the fake shit will win out. Because it doesn't involve people. So
Yeah.
there's nobody to pay. And and you won't be able to tell. But I think it will all be fucking artificial.
Yeah, probably.
And they'll be artificial shit made to look like it's old from the 90s, and it'll still be
Yeah, that would be easy to do.
It'll still all be fucking AI. You won't know what image is real or what's not. They'll have fucking kitty porn and shit, and it'll be fucking AI. And you'll
I'm
be
sure
like,
they probably already have that.
probably, yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna go
They
look.
seem to have
I'll be
everything
put on a
else.
list.
I think it would still be illegal. I think in the U.S. it would probably still be illegal. In other
Yeah,
countries,
that's
it
the
wouldn't.
thing. It's just kind of like once
Right.
AI gets so good that you can't
You can't
distinguish
tell
it
apart,
anymore,
yeah.
that it's like, the laws are going to have to address that.
Right.
Like one way or the other. They're like, hey, look, we just made it. Like it's
Yeah.
an AI, it's not real, but it's just kind of like, how can you prove it?
The internet and imagery and video is going to get so easy to fake that it will negate the internet. It'll be like it was pre-internet, because no one will believe anything that they see on it. So that's the same as it not having any. People are going to eventually look at the internet and go, "This isn't real. None of it is." That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you don't believe me?
Yeah, I just said yeah.
That's what will happen.
Okay.
It will undermine itself. We had somebody say that we were AI,
Yeah, I know. That's funny.
which is hilarious. They thought we were AI.
Yeah, CB said a guy got charged with making AI child porn a few months ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure it's already out there. It's all out there, if you can imagine it. But like I said...
It would be easier to do that than to actually do it. And
well,
you could still be able to sell it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dude, like I said, he just wanted to jerk it to torture porn, and he didn't want to have a job, man. So he basically, for a while, for like many years, he essentially just would spend all day in his computer. Every now and then, like, he'd venture out and get a job, but he would only last like a couple months because, like I said, he'd get bored and be like, yeah, this job shit this is bullshit. I'd rather be home jacking it, you know what I mean? Essentially. So that's what he did that for a while. Now, starting in about 1980, where he was, I guess he was about 18-ish around this time, he started getting a little bit of a criminal record. Nothing major, though. Like, it was all pretty minor shit. Trespassing, traffic citations, he got a DUI, marijuana possession, just shit like that. Just, you know what I mean? Nothing really, nothing violent, nothing all that exciting.
May have you drink.
Huh?
May have you drink.
Oh, yeah. So it started young, but he wasn't really doing anything crazy. And like I said, during this time, it seemed like he was mostly just being on his computer and just hopping from job to job and just being just kind of like an aimless loser, it seems. But then, in 1992, when he was 30, his mom, Yvonne, was offered a good job in Atlanta. And she decided she was going to take it. Now, she asked Sean to move with her, because like I said, that's her golden boy, even though he's fucking 30 at this point. But he didn't want to go. He liked the house where he was. He liked his little, sad little life, and he just didn't want to go anyplace. So she's like, well, I'm going. Like, this is a really good job. It's a really good opportunity. So I'm moving. So she left him alone in the house. But she still paid for the house so he could live in it. I was like, damn, must have been a really high-paying job if she was paying for that house. Like, she paid all the bills on it and everything. I don't know, like, how much the mortgage was or anything. But she was still presumably also paying for a place to live in Atlanta where she worked and having to pay all the expenses there also. So she was legit paying for this house back in Baton Rouge so he could live in it. And I think she even maybe gave him an allowance. And he's 30, like I said, at this point. So, you know, failure to launch. Big time. And it will probably not surprise you to hear that he started to resent and ultimately even hate his mother for abandoning him, even though he was 30 and she was still supporting him, like letting him live there for nothing, like so he didn't have to get a fucking job. But somehow that wasn't good enough because it's like, this is a fucked up situation. I'm just saying. It's a fucked up situation. So he's living alone in the house now. And everything, all his bills are paid. He has a job every now and then. Like, just retail shit. It was mostly just, you know, convenience stores. You know, crap like that. Restaurants. But he never lasted very long. Now, his neighbors were not a fan, gotta say. Particularly the women and girls in the neighborhood really thought he was creepy. And he was, this is very common, these types of sexual serial killers. He got caught peeping a couple times. And would, like I said, he also continued his thing where he was out, like, howling or barking at the moon, and would also, like, cast aspersions on his mom, like yell how much he hated his mom for abandoning him. You know, yelling it to outside or whatever. And so most of his neighbors were like, ooh, okay, we're staying the fuck away from that motherfucker, which, you know, probably wise. Now, right around this time, not too long after his mom moved away, Sean met his only, as far as anyone knows, girlfriend, whose name was Terry Lemoyne. Now, she actually managed a convenience store near his house. She worked the night shift. And I think it was within walking distance. So I think he could walk there, and like sometimes he would go there at night, and they started talking, and they just kind of hit it off. You know what I mean? They were into the same stuff. She was into geeky shit too, and they just, you know, they got along. And the interviews that I've seen with her, she adored him. She thought he was just the kindest, sweetest man ever. She said he felt really safe. He was just really polite. He was just really cool to hang out with. He never yelled. He was always very considerate and thoughtful and stuff like that. She said, matter of fact, on their first date, they kind of got into a little bit of an argument, and she slapped him. I was like, oh, I'd love to know what he fucking said. Must have been really fucked up. And she slapped him, but he didn't retaliate, and in fact started crying.
What a bitch.
And was just kind of like, he felt so bad that like he'd made her mad or whatever. And I was like, that's really weird.
Weird.
Yeah, so...
Serial killer crying and shit.
Yeah, so she...
I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
Yeah, which is like, you wouldn't think they'd care. But like, but he made a distinction. I mean, he never hurt her.
Yeah. He was compartmentalizing.
Yeah, big time. Well, I have a quote from him later where he says almost exactly that same thing. So like I said, this was early 90s when they met. Now, the first murder that he's believed to have committed, he later claimed that he had some stress in his life. What the fuck that could possibly be? I don't know. He didn't have to have a job. The house was paid for. He just sat home and jacked it to porn on the internet.
He was wearing it might all end one day.
What if they take the porn away?
Yeah.
Whatever will I do?
Yeah. What if I have to move out of here?
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, that sounds like a bullshit excuse. I'm like, that would be really awesome if like somebody would pay all my bills and shit like that. I wouldn't be complaining, that's for sure. I would have no stress. But it's like, for whatever reason, he said he had stress. So he decided he was going to kill somebody, you know, as one does, I guess. So...
I'm under all this stress. I'm going to have to kill somebody.
Yeah. What the fuck, man? You got issues. So, March 21st, 1994. So, not far from his house, there was kind of a small, kind of slightly upper end retirement home. And, you know, it was like apartments and, you know, older people lived in there. And then there was medical staff on, you know what I mean. And he basically walked into one of the apartments, which belonged to an 82-year-old woman named Ann Bryan. He actually watched her for a little while. Like, she was in the apartment, she was taking a bath, and, you know, she got out and put a little robe on and stuff like that and was going and getting in bed. And she had actually left the door cracked open, so, because the nurse would come in, like, during the night sometimes and give her medication or whatever. You know, she's 82. But, so he just waltzed right in, because it wasn't locked. And she didn't see him at first, and so she was, like, in bed. Because he kind of, like, watched her from the shadows for a little while. Now, he comes in intending to rape her. But I guess he started, like, jumped on her or whatever, and she flipped the fuck out, you know, as you would, and started screaming. So, to quiet her down, he slit her throat and then just started stabbing the shit out of her. And ended up stabbing her, like, 50 times.
Damn.
And then after she was dead, he cut her open. I don't know if he completely disemboweled her, but I think he cut open her abdomen. And then cut off one of her breasts. So then he just takes off and leaves the body there at this retirement home. And this was a completely random... He didn't know this woman. This retirement home was... I think it was on the way to where the convenience store where his girlfriend worked. And so he passed it all the time. And I think that maybe he thought, oh, well, the people that live here, they're elderly and maybe they'll be vulnerable. I don't know if he even thought about it that much. But he just decided he was going to kill somebody, and that seemed as good a place as any. So it was just like a completely random attack. He just walked in because her door was unlocked. You know what I mean? Which is fucked up. And obviously, nobody suspected him, even though he kind of lived in the neighborhood, because there was no connection between the two of them. It was such a violent crime that it's like they thought, is this somebody that knows her or something like that? But, you know, nobody really linked it because he didn't know her. Now, 7 months after this murder, Terry moved in with him into Sean's house, really his mom's house, because she was the one still paying for it. Now, according to some sources I saw, I'm not sure how accurate this is, But some said that he actually did, once they kind of got to know each other better, he actually did show her some of the porn he liked. I don't know if he showed her the snuff shit, because I kind of feel like if somebody showed me that, it's like, oh, this is what I jack off to, I'd be like, I'd be like, bro, what the fuck?
I already thought I cleared this up. I guarantee you it wasn't porn. It was just stuff off of Gore Gallery and fucking Rotten.com.
It doesn't matter, really. I'm just saying
if
that
a normal person were to see that, they wouldn't see it as porn.
That's kind of just, that's the point that I'm making. That if somebody showed you this shit and said, this is what I jerk off to, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me right now.
At that time, Rotten.com and GoreGallery.com were not masturbational sites. They were just like when you're a teenager, young guy,
you're like, look at that fucked up shit.
Oh yeah, rotten stuff. And
it's the same with like people that watch horror, like gory horror movies and stuff like that. Right. It's like you don't beat off to it. It's just kind of like
it's just like
ew, like you're kind of admiring the artistry of it.
Photos and photos from serial killers and shit that they had done, and that was like where I saw one of the worst videos I've ever seen. It kind of still sticks with me today. One of the worst fucking deaths I've ever seen was, I think it was somewhere around Serbia, maybe Bosnia Herzegovina. It was something from the Balkan Wars. They had a guy tied to a damn chair and they kicked him over. They were yelling at him. It was soldiers, and they fucking took a bayonet. It was an AK-47 bayonet, and put it in that dude's temple, and fucking crushed it right through his skull and went right through his fucking frontal lobes. And he was on the fucking ground, and the camera was right there in his face. And you could just, oh man, you could just see that dude. That was the worst ever. That dude knew he was dying. I don't know what he did.
I mean, that would be fucked up.
He did something. It was some kind of a battlefield execution. And the dudes that were doing it, I didn't speak what language. I couldn't even tell you what language. It was some kind of a Eastern European language. He did something. Because they were all kind of like, yeah, fuck that dude. So, things happen in war zones. For all I know, the dude had raped and killed some women or something. And they were doing some kind of a fucking brutal justice, street justice, battlefield justice type deal.
But yeah, so, like, I don't know what exactly he showed to her. And I think they'd been together a little while at this point. Like I said, I would have been sketched out by it, but maybe she didn't take it that seriously, or maybe she was like, maybe he's just fucking with me. I don't really know. I don't know what her thought process was, and I don't know what the pictures were that he showed her. Because I think I would have been weirded out, but I like some fucked up shit too, but it's just like not like that, That's kind of a whole other thing. Now it does seem as though Sean did really like her enough to try and make a good impression on her and appear normal. And she said, I mean, he was like the perfect boyfriend. Like he never, raised his voice to her. He was always really considerate and everything like that. But she did say that she's like, man, he was like on the computer all the time. She's like, they had hardly any quality time together really, because it's like she would work at night. But she would come home in the day. He would just be on it like day and night. Like, she's like, I would wake up by myself. I would go to bed by myself. Like, he was just on that fucking computer all the time. So, trying to be nice, she tried to get him a job at the store that she managed, hoping, that he would make his own money and stop relying on his mom, like, paying his way for everything. But he only lasted 3 weeks. She's like, he didn't want to interact with the public, which I get. But she was like, dude, you gotta get a job, you know what I mean? Like I said, he did have money from his mom, but she was the one, his girlfriend was the one making the money. And she wanted him to, like, she's like, she wanted him to be a man, like, get a fucking job, you know what I mean? Yeah. But he didn't last that long. And I guess she didn't bother him anymore about it, So, almost 5 years went by before Sean Gillis did another murder. After the the woman that he killed at the retirement home. Now he said later on, after he got caught, that he waited so long because he was actually happy. Well, I guess he was hanging out with his girlfriend and he didn't have to work, and so he wasn't feeling any stress, so he didn't need to do it. But because Terry worked nights, I guess he eventually decided he was going to take advantage of all those lonely hours when she was not there to just get up to some shit. Also, I wanted to add here, because remember how you said that, compartmentalize, which a lot of these serial killers, BTK did it. He called it cubing. But he was talking about the same thing. This dude, and this is a direct quote from Vincent Gillis, there are two kinds of women. There are the women you love and adore and die for, and there are women that are things. And he said that pretty much.
Because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know them. And, well, I'm going to say that wasn't the case in all of these.
Okay.
But, you know what I mean?
Well, they don't like you. If they don't like you, then they're a thing.
Not even that.
Not even that.
Like I said,
Okay.
we'll get into that a little bit. Because there was one that was pretty weird. But yeah. But so he seemed to have a thing, which, I guess a lot of serial killers that have wives and girlfriends, because they end up not doing anything to their wives or girlfriends. So I guess they can, like you said, compartmentalize. Yeah. And they just see other women as just objects or toys that they can play with and throw away. And I kind of feel like that's how he felt. And like I said, particularly him, because he was a necrophile. And I think his main thing was bodies. He liked doing shit to women's dead bodies. So he did literally make them into things that he could use.
Okay.
So...
You're teasing us.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay. We're going to see.
So his next victim... was a woman. She was 29 or 30, and her name was Catherine Hall. Now the first victim had been white. This woman was black, and the first woman had lived in a slightly, I don't think it was exclusive, but it was like a nicer retirement home. This woman was a drug addict and a sex worker, and she lived in a housing project. And he actually picked her up in his car in January of 1999. And as soon as they negotiated and she got in the car, he basically overpowered her and put a plastic cable tie thing. That was one of his main things that he used, around her neck, and pulled it. Now, she actually was able to briefly fight back against him and got out the car and started running. But he caught up to her. And then when he caught up to her, he just stabbed the shit out of her again in the throat and her eye, everything like that. I think he stabbed her 37 times or some shit like that. Then after he killed her, he raped the dead body, and then sliced her eyelids off and took them home in his pocket.
Why the eyelids?
Who knows?
Usually they take a breast.
Well, he did that too.
Badge.
He did that too, but eyelids, I don't know why.
I don't know why you'd want one breast. Why not both of them? And then you'd want the right.
You're trying to find logic in an illogical situation.
It's got to be logical to me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, if she's got a fantastic rack, I'm gonna say, well, actually, I'll just fucking.
I'll take both of them.
I'll just take the whole rib cage.
And then just stick them on a wall in the garage.
Take the whole rib cage.
Are you a serial killer?
No, but that's what I would do.
Because
you'd want to keep the fucking distance between the two breasts and the way they hang and shit like that, and then you'd want to keep all that intact.
Tom has artistic appreciation.
Well, I grew up field dressing deer and dressing deer. You know what I mean? So the human body would be about like a deer. And if you know what you're doing, none of that shit's gross or none of that shit's bloody. It's just like butchery of any kind of fucking food product or anything else, you know. It's just a lot of these guys are kind of like they're trying to make shit macabre, I think, and they're trying to mortify their victim. You know what I'm talking about? They're trying to embarrass them in some way. So they butcher shit and make a mess and crazy, you know.
Yeah.
They don't have that surgeon or that butcher's fucking touch. If you liked that part of that woman, why would you want to fuck it up? You'd want to preserve it. That's my thinking. So, I don't know. They just do weird shit. They're stupid.
I don't know. I don't know if they're thinking about it that hard.
Yeah, maybe they're not thinking about it that hard. Yeah, maybe not. I think they'll take a breast not because they like the breast. I think they're just trying to fucking fuck up the body, and kind of like because they leave them in embarrassing positions and shit like that to try to degrade them. I think that's
I think they enjoy the feeling or the thought of someone finding
it, and that's what
too.
That's what it is. It's not done with love.
Well, obviously, it's like the understatement of the century. So he took her eyelids for whatever. I don't know what ultimately ended up happening to the eyelids, but it's just, that's so weird to me that it's that's like he just cuts the eyelids off and put them in his pocket, like, I'm gonna save those for later. You know what?
Okay. It's almost kind of like stunting.
I guess.
Let's try hard shit.
So a hunter found her body later. She was naked, and he had kind of posed. I don't know if she was posed, but he had left her by a sign, a dead end sign. I guess he thought that would be funny. What?
Fucking American Military 100 got it about me. See?
Oh, a connoisseur of breast and has an honorary doctorate in boobology.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna make you a certificate that says that.
You have to understand something. I don't have an honorary doctorate per se in boobology. I invented the science of boobology.
Oh, excuse me.
So I'm a professor of boobology. I actually,
he has a PhD.
I actually I invented it. Like I'm the professor of boobology. I actually withhold the fucking power to hand out doctorates to others if they pass my test. Then I can give you a doctorate.
I'd love to see all the questions on this test.
Well, it's a one-on-one thing between dudes, and we understand it's all going to be done. It's all going to be in dude language. It's an
oral exam.
Exactly. It's all face-to-face examination,
it's an oral exam.
And fucking we're gonna have to look at photographs, and then we're gonna have to have a few drinks and vibe over boobs.
Vibing over boobs.
Yeah, and we can name names of porn stars going back 30, 40 years.
It's so funny that you remember all of that.
I can recognize some of those porn stars by their boobs going back to the 90s.
Yeah, that's really funny.
You're like, that's Tracy Tops. Oh my God, that's...
He's like, I can't remember to take the garbage out on the day it's supposed to be out, but I remember what that chick's tits look like. Yeah.
By that's God. Tiffany Towers. I can just recognize the boobs. Yeah,
that's really funny.
Yeah.
We
can remember wrestlers too. It's the same thing.
Huh?
We can remember wrestlers too. It's the same. It's similar.
That's really funny. But yeah, so I'm not sure. I suspect, it could just be a coincidence that he left the body by a dead end sign. I suspect that he was doing it to be funny. Now there was, because she had fought and stuff like that, there was ample physical evidence left at the scene. There was skin under her fingernails because she had, clawed at him. And they found a pubic hair near her mouth, but there was nobody. Then they got a DNA profile from it, but there was nobody to match it to because he wasn't in the system. So obviously they didn't catch him. 4 months later, this is in May 1999. He's kind of, I don't know if he was so much, he kind of explained this in some of the interviews, which I'll get into, but it's like, I don't know if he was so much trolling for a new victim, but I think he was getting that itch again, you know what I mean? So he had been seeing this woman whose name was Hardy Schmidt. Now, she was 52, mother of 3, I think her kids were grown. Now, she was actually lived in quite a upper class, a wealthy neighborhood. Her husband was a judge or an attorney or something like that, and her dad was some big muckety muck or something like that. So this wasn't he went from one woman that, kind of lived in the projects, and then he's kind of scrolling around this kind of upper class neighborhood. And this woman, she would get up real early and go jogging every morning in her neighborhood in South Baton Rouge, which was, like I said, kind of a well-heeled neighborhood. And she had actually, she was really into running. She was in good shape. She'd been in the Boston Marathon, all this other kind of shit. And he had seen her around, just in his driving. And over the next couple weeks, he's like, I just kept seeing her. And at first, he's like, at first I didn't think about doing anything to hurt her. He just kind of noticed her because he saw her jogging all the time. But he's like, for some reason, on this particular Sunday, at about 6:30 in the morning, he decides, he's like, I don't know what it was that day, but I decided that he was going to do something. He's like, because they asked, well, had you been stalking her? And he's like, I don't know if I would, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I don't know if I would call it that, because I had noticed her, but I didn't really intend to do anything to her until this particular day. And he's like, and I don't know what it was about seeing her that day, maybe the way her hair was bobbing or something like that. He's like, just something struck me and I decided to do something to her. So he hit her with his car and knocked her into a ditch. Now, she wasn't super injured, but she was obviously surprised, and kind of hurt. And so he gets out of his car real quick and puts the cable, like his, plastic tie thing, like around her neck, and started choking her. And he basically killed her, shoved her into the car, and took her to a park nearby where he raped the dead body. And then he mutilated the body, as he usually did. Then he put the body in the trunk of the car. Now, the body was in the trunk overnight. Matter of fact, he picked up his girlfriend, Terry, from work with the body in the trunk. And she even said when she got in the car, she's like, wow, it smells kind of funny in here.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I hit an animal. And she was like, oh, okay. Clean it. You know what I mean? It stinks. There was a fucking woman's body in the trunk.
Yeah.
When he picked her up. Like, that
tells me he's a disorganized killer.
Or he just gets off on, like, not getting caught. Like, I can just get away with it. Maybe he just doesn't give a shit.
Disorganized. Wasn't done to his plan. He said that.
I gotta pee.
Because a lot of the organized killers will brag over how long that they fucking planned some
that
shit.
person, yeah.
He's a disorganized killer. He does it without thinking about it.
Yeah.
I remember this bitch. He gets caught. If this is the same guy, he gets caught in the early 2000s, like 2003 or something, 2004. I can't remember. But he had all of Star Trek Next Generation on fucking VHS, if this is the same one. And if I remember correctly, the cops fucking were amazed at his memory of the fucking Star Trek The Next Generation. He could sit there and he could talk about all the episodes. He was a big Trekkie when it came to Next Generation. He probably knew the original series too. But it's funny. Yeah. Fuck this bitch. So let's see what everybody else was talking about. Wrestling fan says, yeah, he was dehumanizing his victims with a mutilation. Hey, that's what I think so too. Why would you take somebody's eyelids? I mean, you can't do anything with eyelids. The only thing that happens when you cut off some chick's eyelids and take them with you is that you leave a body behind with the eyes bugging out.
Yeah, maybe he.
So he just wanted them to find them damn with that head with the eyes bugging out. That's
it might have just been that.
That's all it was.
Might have been that.
Yeah.
So his girlfriend's in the car and the body is in the car like a couple feet away and she has no idea. So a day or two later, he drives the body to St. James Parish, about 35 miles, and dumps her body into the bayou, where a person on a bicycle found it like a day or two later. Now at this stage, there's another like 6-month gap. That's not a huge gap, I guess, like for serial killers. So his next victim was a 36-year-old woman named Joyce Williams. And she was also a sex worker, so he's going back to that again. This was November of 1999. Now, this victim, I believe, is the first one that after he'd killed her, he brought her back to his house. Because like I said, his girlfriend worked at night, so she wasn't there. Like, she worked the night shift. And so he kills Joyce Williams with the zip tie and then brought the body back to the house. Now, one of the things that he had noticed about her was she apparently had really nice legs. So, as you do, he's like, wow, those are really nice legs. I'm going to cut those off. So he severed her fucking legs. I don't know if how long he was planning to keep them, because he just dumped them later on. But it's like he just liked them and was just like, yeah, I'm just going to cut them off. And then he dismembered the rest of her. And he even tried to eat part of her. But I guess cannibalism wasn't quite as cool as he was expecting that it was going to be. Because he was basically like, oh, well, I cut her all up. And then I was like, you know what? What the hell? I'm going to try and eat some of that. See what that's like. But he's like, yeah, it wasn't good. He didn't like it. So
didn't know how to cook it. Probably motherfucker's a fucking terrible cook.
Yeah, maybe so. He's stuck in the microwave.
I'm gonna start bragging over my cooking skills and that. You microwave that shit, try to boil it in the microwave, some crazy shit.
Well, no, I mean, admittedly, it's horrible, right? But it's like, you gotta laugh. It's like, I have a really dark sense of humor.
Fucking fool.
And I was just kind of like, I can just imagine this dumbass.
He's a fucking dumb.
Cutting pieces off a woman and putting them in the microwave.
On a human body, there's really gonna only be fucking one place where there's gonna be enough meat to fucking get something decent, and it's gonna be the glute and the thigh, the ass and the thigh muscle.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
And with some shit like that, you're gonna have to fucking debone it. Yeah, you could leave it on the bone probably. And it's the skin's gonna be thin.
Cannibal cooking tips.
Yeah.
That's what people come to this show
for. I hit it with a quick propane torch, burn the hair off of it, sear it in a fucking cast iron skillet, fucking real hard on either side. Then I put it in. If you got a good sensor probe, put that shit, set it for 145 degrees.
Oh my god.
350, 145 degrees, oven temperature 350, and then it'll go off, and you'll have something that's what you would do with a lean cut of meat, okay? And that's somebody who's a very experienced cook and soldier and fucking shit like that. Fucking, that's how you would do
this
that.
Guy, I kind of feel like he just didn't.
He's a fucking.
He's more like a necrophile who gets off on body parts. I think he just thought, hey, while I have this woman here in my house and I have her all cut up, I wonder what she tastes like. I think it was just like
he didn't think about it.
Yeah, I think it was just a last. He might not have even cooked it. I'm not entirely sure. He might have just thrown it in his mouth raw, which yuck. But it's just, yuck if you cook it too. But I'm just saying that it's like, he probably didn't even think about it that hard.
Yeah.
Or like I said, he probably just threw it in the fucking
I just think it's fascinating, all these fucking so-called cannibals fantasizing about fucking, and they don't know how to cook.
You'd think, I mean.
You don't know how to fucking cook. That German dude that ate
I was
that
just
other
thinking
dude,
of Armin Meiwes,
Yeah. That German dude who ate that other dude, they even ate that dude's dick together. And they said that shit was terrible. You didn't fucking how to cook. First of all, you would never cook that. That's something that ended up in a sausage. Okay.
Yeah. Why would you want to eat that?
That type of fucking, that type of material in any animal that wouldn't.
Nah.
No.
That wouldn't be good. And I think they burned it too.
You could have cut his nuts off, and you could have some fucking Rocky Mountain oysters together. Yeah. And he'd be eating his own balls with you and shit. That's some creepy shit, man. But you could.
There's some fucking weirdos out there. Man.
Yeah, but. Learn how to fucking cook first.
I mean,
fucking assholes.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. So it's like, after that little failed experiment, so he puts the body parts into plastic bags, cleaned the house up, obviously, because his girlfriend's going to be home in a few hours and there's blood everywhere. And again, puts the bags in the trunk. And again, he picked his girlfriend up with a woman's body in the trunk. Different one this time. Yeah. So he drops her off at home. Who, Lord knows what fucking excuse he gave. Oh, I gotta go out and run an errand. Yeah. So then he goes out and dumps the body again. That body actually wasn't found for a couple of months, but they did eventually find it. But because it was kind of in pieces, in plastic bags. But it's so yeah, that's 2 times now that he's picked up his girlfriend from work and acted all normal, and there is a fucking mutilated human body in his trunk. So, great. So, 2 months after that murder, as a matter of fact, right around the time that this woman's body was found, he decides he's going to do another one. So it is kind of ramping up a little bit. So it was in January 2000. This was another sex worker. Her name was Lillian Robinson, and she was 52 years old. And she was killed in pretty much the same way. Strangled with the zip tie, raped post-mortem, and then dumped. And then her body was found about a month later. And then there was another gap. That was January 2000. And then in late October of 2000, he killed again. Now, he said that he hadn't actually been planning on killing anyone that night. Like I said, he seemed like he was kind of impulsive in a little way. But he saw this woman, also a sex worker. Her name was Marilyn Nevels, and she was 38. And he saw her this one night when he was driving around, and, you know, something about her just kind of, you know, clicked his little serial killer shit on. And so he's like, all right, get in the car. So he takes her to this kind of remote area, like a parking lot type thing, like kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Now he tries to put the zip tie thing on her, but she, again, like fought like fucking hell. And she managed to get out of the car and run away. Now there was a car coming, and so he's like, well, he wanted to like subdue her and get her hidden before they were seen. So he snatches up this pipe, I think it was like some construction site or some shit like that, and just starts beating the shit out of her with this pipe. Until she was unconscious. So then he strangled her with a zip tie, raped the body, and ended up dumping her 3 miles from his house next to the Mississippi River. They found her body on Halloween, actually, so about 11 days later. So this was victim number 6. And after that, he took kind of a break. I think it ended up being about 3 years. However, right around this time, other raped and strangled women, and stabbed in some cases, started turning up in Baton Rouge. Now, they didn't know this at the time, but this was another serial killer. You know, like I said, they didn't know that all of this was going on.
The black dude?
Yeah.
The guy that was busting in people's houses.
Yeah, he did. He did in a few, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they got him.
So, yeah. So
he would knock on the door and say, "Can I use your phone? There's been an accident." And fucking they'd go, "No," and he'd fucking bust in the door and fucking get you anyway. Strangle him with the telephone cable and shit. Yeah.
So in September 2001, a woman named Gina Wilson Green was murdered. And then in May of 2002, a woman named Charlotte Murray Pace was stabbed inside her house, which was near Louisiana State University. 2 months after that, another woman named Pam Kinnamore was kidnapped from her house, and then they found her body 4 days later in Whiskey Bay. So at this stage, the cops are like, oh shit, we have a serial killer. Because I don't know if at the time they thought that the ones Sean Gillis had done and these ones were the same guy. Because they were kind of similar. So they're like, okay, so we need to obviously do something about this. Well, I don't know why they didn't do something earlier, but, you know, whatever. Better late than never, I guess. So they do a task force, but they kind of feel like they were more focused on these murders and not the ones that, you know, in hindsight, Sean Gillis did. Oddly enough, though, again, in hindsight, the criminal profile that they worked up regarding this killer, this different guy, matched Sean Vincent Gillis way more than it ended up the guy that they eventually caught. Now, as they found out later, Sean Gillis, I don't know if this is why he stopped killing at this time, but he got super fascinated with this other serial killer because it was like in the media and stuff, and he started spending all this, I guess he took a break from jacking it on the internet to like researching stuff about this guy. He's like, whoa, there's another serial killer in Baton Rouge doing similar kind of shit to what he was doing, and it was almost like this weird competition. You know what I mean? He's like, what the fuck? And he had like all these articles about it. So he didn't know this at the time, obviously. But this other serial killer was actually a black man. You know, very rare. They don't have a lot of black serial killers.
Malvo, right?
No. Derek Todd Lee was his name.
Derek Todd Lee, that's right.
Derek Todd Lee.
Derek Todd Lee.
He was 34 years old, an ex-convict.
Yeah, he real shitbag.
He actually killed a couple more women, Trinisha Cullum and Carrie Lynn Yoder.
Malvo was the sniper. Fucking, yeah. Derek Todd Lee. I remember that ditch. I was living in fucking Pass Christian, Mississippi, just an hour or so, fucking hour and a half, 2 hours away from when that was happening. And women were fucking in that area were just terrorized. They were in terror.
You
had the whole
can't
fucking
blame
city
them.
scared. They didn't know how he was getting into people's houses till they caught him. You do it in the broad daylight.
And yeah, this guy too, like they ended up getting his DNA at one of the scenes and it linked a bunch of the murders.
Yeah.
In a way, like I said, his MO was kind of similar to Sean Gillis, and he also killed both white women and black women, which again, not unheard of, but it is much rarer. Serial killers generally kill victims of their own race, but not always. And neither of these two seemed to care. It was just kind of like opportunity.
Well, the area is kind of mixed, and he was comfortable with both. He was kind of a light-skinned type of black sack. I just call him kind of light, but he liked both. And it was just, he was comfortable in a mixed area, and he would just knock on your door. And if you answered the door, he'd just ask to use your phone. And it didn't matter if you said yes or no. He'd boom, as soon as you opened the door. And he was in there. And he didn't seem to care whether or not you were in there. He didn't seem to care if you were in there with anybody else. I don't know how he staked it out. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
We need to do something on Derek
Like
Totley.
I said, he probably needs his own show.
Yeah, we need to do a show on Derek Totley.
Because I don't think we've done a show on him.
I think it was mostly just by random. He assumed that the women were in there alone, and just went with that.
And he's just like, well, if it turns out that they weren't, then
and so what? He'll just run out the back,
wing it.
Yeah, And he wasn't he was a fairly physical guy, but I wouldn't call him like a big, intimidating type dude. He was just stronger than a woman. You know, that's all it takes.
The funny thing is that the guy who would eventually be discovered to be Derek Totley, they called him the Baton Rouge serial killer. Because like I said, by this point, they had stopped giving like fancy ass names to serial killers, because that's probably not a great idea. So they would just be like, hey, city name serial killer. So when they found out that it was two different guys, like that Sean Gillis and Derek Totley were two different guys, they called Sean Gillis the other Baton Rouge serial killer, which like cracked me the fuck up. Yeah. I was like, I wonder, was he mad about that? I bet he was. Because he'd been doing it probably longer, but Derek Totley got caught first. So it's like, he was like the other Baton Rouge serial killer. It's like, I don't know why that made me laugh so hard, like when I fucking saw that.
Yeah, I remember these cases. I was living in this area when this was going on at this time, between this one and Derek Totley. Yeah, I remember when that happened.
So Derek Totley was actually arrested in May of 2003. And like I said, Sean Gillis was like really, really interested. So it's like everything that came out about him, he would like download it or whatever. Like he even had when they later did a search of his house, like after he got caught, like he had a file on his computer and called it DTL, Derek Totley. Yeah. And he had all the news articles and pictures and all this other kind of stuff. And
he was fanboying, huh?
Yeah, they thought he was kind of fanboying, or like in a competition, like, ooh, maybe I could kill more women than this guy. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, that's fucked up, but yeah. So they caught him.
It was the salt and pepper team. It was kind of like out of Predator.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. It was like out of Predator when Arnie the way, you son of a bitch, and the two biceps and shit, a white one and a black one and shit.
It's like
that was the serial killer version of that.
They're like broing out.
They were broing
serial
out.
Killers.
You son of a bitch, Dylan.
Oh, I love your work. What the fuck, man?
Oh man, imagine that shit.
It's messed up, but I bet there's probably like an.
That's how they were seeing it, or that's how he was seeing it. Derek Totley, fuck that white boy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, well, I'm sure that was probably what it was. Mm-hmm. He was just kind of like, oh, he was probably like looking for tips.
Yeah, Derek Totley was like, fuck that Star Trek fucking motherfucker, fuck that honky.
Yeah, he probably. I imagine he probably.
Yeah, that's fucking funny, man.
Like I said, he needs his whole own show.
Yeah.
But I just thought I would mention him because there was a lot of those. Yeah. Well, actually, there was another one too, but we'll get to that later. So Derek Totley was caught in May 2003, and like I said, he was real into, like, he followed all the news stories about it. However, in October of 2003, he decided he was going to kill again. Now, this time, the victim was Johnny Mae Williams, who was a 45-year-old woman. She had 3 children. and was divorced. She was also a drug addict and worked as a sex worker. However, this woman was not a stranger to him, and in fact was a really good friend of his. They had known each other for about a decade. They hung out pretty much all the time. Johnny May came over and cleaned his house pretty regularly.
Burger, huh?
And they hung out all the time. They did drugs together. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she would get him drugs from her dealer, shit like that. And he had Thanksgiving with her family on at least one occasion. Like with her and her kids and her parents and stuff. So like I said, they were buds.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, and I don't think that he ever gave a legitimate reason for this, like why he just decided to kill her after he'd known her for like fucking 10 years and they were friends. I mean, they were legit friends. But he decided in October of 2003, I don't know, I guess I'm just going to kill her.
She was available.
I guess. So he
Sweet.
drives her out to the secluded, and she didn't have any idea what's up. You know, she's been hanging out with this dude for like 10 years, right? Nothing bad's happened. So they drive out to this kind of secluded area. It was actually this area behind, I guess kind of a well-known...
Had he had sex with her?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really sure. I didn't see anything that said. I mean, she was a sex worker, so he might have paid for her services at some point, but I don't know. You know, I'm just talking
I got a
about
feeling he did.
So maybe, yeah. I don't know. But so there's this kind of well-known restaurant, I guess, in Baton Rouge called Mason's Grill, and there's sort of like a little bit of a isolated, or like woods and shit, like behind there. So he took her out behind there, where he started just beating the shit out of her.
He took her there with a ruse, probably, huh?
Yeah,
Under
and like I
her
said, she wasn't suspicious because,
Yeah.
like I said, it was her friend. They'd known each other a long time. Can you imagine? Jesus
Dude's an
Christ.
asshole. That's not normal, girls. Don't worry about that shit.
Yeah, but see,
The
you
dudes that
never know.
Nah, it's not normal.
You never know. I watch too much
That's
true
not even.
crime.
That's not even normal. That's not even normal for serial killers.
I know it's not. Well, yeah, that's what they...
Yeah.
And even, like,
That's
FBI
not normal.
profilers and stuff, that's very unusual because usually, you know, if they can... Ones that have wives, girlfriends, and stuff like this motherfucker did, you know, they can compartmentalize, like BTK, like people like that. It's like they would never do anything to...
People they know.
The women that they know.
Yeah, they don't do it.
But, like, the object women,
Yeah.
sex workers or strangers, they can do anything to them because they're just things. So the fact that that's why I said earlier that it's like, yeah, he made a distinction between women that you love and women that are things. But I was like, but he said, I mean, at least he said in the interviews, he said, I really liked her.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I don't think he could really explain why he decided to just kill her all of a sudden.
I'm trying to put myself in these shoes, man. And yeah, I have a hard time putting myself in these shoes.
Well, that's probably a good
Okay.
thing.
Well, look. If you do the show, whatever, I'm a professional soldier. I don't have anything against killing somebody as long as it's fucking the mission and it's an enemy, you know. And it's to achieve a higher goal. This whole thing about doing it to get your rocks off and sex, I laugh at that. That's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? If you got to kill someone to have sex, you got serious fucking problems.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
like I said.
But why would a dude who's killing women on the regular, he does it compartmentalized to vent some kind of rage? What? But he doesn't do it towards the women that he likes. Why would he take one that he does like?
Yeah, why would he turn on her like
And
that?
the only thing I can think of is self-punishment. Maybe it's guilt.
It could be.
I'm going to take one that I like and maybe I'll suffer from it. Or see if
And
I
it'll
suffer
make me
from it.
stop?
To make me feel bad for what I'm doing. Is it something like that? And then he does it and he's
possible.
like, well, I don't really feel that bad about it. So, oh, well, fuck it. And he's like at one with it.
He did say later, he said,
Yeah.
and like I said, there's interviews with him like up on YouTube because he talked and talked and talked and he wouldn't shut up. So there's all kind of interviews with him on YouTube. But he said out of all the murders that he did, this was the only one that haunted him. Like he kept seeing her face.
Yeah.
And because he, like I said, he liked her and she liked him. Like they hung out all the time. So,
Only thing
and he couldn't, like I said, he didn't really seem to have a good explanation for why he decided to do that.
these dudes are extremely self-centered. They only care about themselves. So it's something about the self. You're doing it to do something to the self. not to her.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So the only thing I can think of is you're doing it to punish the self.
Yeah.
So you feel something. That's the only thing I could.
That kind of makes sense.
So he
I mean,
does it to hurt himself, maybe in an attempt to stop, or an attempt to feel like I'm not getting away with something.
Yeah.
Like.
Because weirdly, I mean, he talked a lot,
an
but
attempt at self-destruction.
it could have been that.
Something like that.
It could have been that.
So I'm killing these people. I don't really.
Maybe he was trying to get caught.
Trying to get caught and trying to feel guilt for what he's doing.
That's interesting. Maybe that might have had some. I don't think he was consciously doing that.
Right, like an unconscious thing where like
he wanted to see if he would feel bad about it.
If I do it to her, then I know that's really horrible. I feel bad about it. So I'm gonna do it so I can feel bad.
Yeah.
That would mean.
Let's see what that's like.
Because I'm not feeling bad for all these others.
For doing it. Clearly he did.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, because when I was watching the interviews with him, like, he almost seemed... He wasn't a stupid person, but he didn't seem to have a lot of insight into why he did what he did. He claimed that he didn't really have any idea why. Like, he just couldn't help himself.
People are multifaceted. There's a bunch of different consciousnesses in there in a conversation. For some reason, he decided he had to punish and destroy himself. So he killed somebody that he would have some feelings
that was
about.
A friend of his.
That was a friend, right.
I mean, that does actually make sense when you put it like that.
Self-punishment. That's the only punishment.
That maybe he was trying to get caught.
Yeah. And punish himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the person that he'd actually, like, hung out with. Because I can't imagine...
It's the only thing that comes to mind.
Can you imagine how fucking terrified she would have been? Like, she's just with this dude she's known forever, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, by the way, and then he starts beating the shit out of her. Holy shit.
Because, what was his name? Charles Nying and fucking the other dude.
Larry something?
Larry, whatever, those fuckers. They...
Leonard Lake.
Leonard Lake, yeah. They sometimes kill people they knew, and they didn't give a shit.
They didn't give a shit about anybody. They were just
so
sociopaths.
This particular one, this guy was a little bit different. I think he went out to kill somebody he knew, and I think he knew beforehand he'd feel bad about it. So that means he wanted to feel bad. That's the only way I can. I mean, you in the comment sections. I mean, what do you guys think? That's the only thing I can.
That is actually, I think that you might be onto something.
Just trying to put myself into the shoes. Why would I do that if I was doing what he was doing?
Yeah. I can't really think of another
punish
reason.
the self.
Like I said, he couldn't think of a reason, but like I said, I don't think he was all that. He wasn't really that introspective.
Yeah.
Which obviously, I mean,
well, these dudes
a lot of these dudes aren't. Like, that's why they're like that.
That's why they're like this.
If they were introspective, they probably wouldn't do this shit.
Yeah, he's doing this, and then there's a part of him that doesn't feel good about it, but he doesn't feel bad.
Yeah.
So he punishes himself by killing somebody he'll feel bad about.
That, yeah.
In a weird way of trying to stop.
It might have been that.
Something like that, yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
But the crazy thing
Or there would be no other reason.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, he didn't do anything to his girlfriend. His girlfriend had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
She said he was like the gentlest, like, just normal.
But she was on the periphery, so she was kind of like expendable. He's not going to go after the girlfriend.
Yeah.
That would be too final.
Right.
This is one that's like an experimental. Can I feel bad about what I'm doing?
Yeah. It's like, because I haven't been able to feel bad up until now. I actually feel pretty good about it. Like let's see if I can feel bad.
Yeah.
It was an experiment. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to see if he would feel bad.
Yeah, he's trying to bring it closer to home.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you are onto something. But yeah, so he did pretty much the same thing. He killed her the same way he killed the others. He raped the dead body, and he cut off her hands for some reason. And like I said, this was later. He said this was the only murder that had haunted him, and he's like, I don't really know why I did it. It's like, I liked her, she liked me, we hung out all the time. You know, I don't even know. I haven't seen like the whole 40 hours of interviews, but I don't know if they asked him like, why the fuck did you do that? But I don't think he would have had a good answer.
He probably didn't know.
Yeah, I think, like I said, he wasn't dumb, but I don't think he was particularly insightful about his motives either. But like I said, if they were, they wouldn't be doing this in the first place.
These bitches all want to be powerful. And the last thing they want to do is to fucking admit that they have vulnerabilities and feelings.
Yeah.
So this isn't... He's not going to say, he's not going to admit to himself why he killed somebody he'd feel bad about.
Right.
And then later on, he goes, "I feel bad about that one." Yeah,
Yeah.
bitch, you killed your fucking friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, his friend of like a decade at least.
Yeah, now you're feeling what
normal people feel.
Now you're feeling what the friends of all the people you killed would be feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, how's that? Yeah.
How you like that, bitch?
How you like that? Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, to me, I'm not really sure. This dude, I kind of went back and forth on it. I was thinking about it a lot, actually, while I was reading about him. Is that I'm not entirely sure, because some serial killers that we've covered, I think were just complete sociopaths. I was like, I don't think that they had any capacity to feel any empathy at all. So even if they did have partners, wives, girlfriends, I don't think they were capable of feeling anything for them the way... I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit when we talked about BTK, because, yeah, he had a wife and a daughter and stuff, but it's just kind of like, I don't know... I've read a lot about him, and I've read, like, a lot of his letters that he wrote. There's, like, a whole book. I think Sophie, who's a friend of the show that is in the comments sometimes, she sent me a book of his letters to Catherine Ramsland, and she kind of put them all in a book. And I don't think he was capable of feeling love or compassion or empathy or anything like that. I think it's almost more, this is my possession, this is my stuff, I'm not gonna fuck with my stuff, but I can like fuck with these other objects over here because they don't mean anything to me. So I don't know if he necessarily saw his wife and daughter as people, just that it's like, that's my stuff and I'm not gonna fuck with it. This guy, on the other hand, I'm not sure. I don't know as much about his psychology, I guess, as I do about BTK, because I haven't read any of this dude's letters. I've listened to him talk, like, extensively, but I'm not really sure if this dude is, like, a pure sociopath, or if he was actually capable of, like, feeling something for someone, because he did seem to love his girlfriend, at least according to her. Like, she never picked up anything weird from him or anything. But I don't know. It could just be that she wasn't picking up red flags that other people picked up. Like I said, his neighbors thought he was a weirdo. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Now, so the next victim, his last one, actually, his 8th victim, was February 2004. And she was also a sex worker. She was 43, and her name was Donna Johnston. Now, when he picked her up, probably, this is terrible to say, but it's probably better for her, she was super, super drunk when he picked her up. So he said it really wasn't hard to get her in the car, because she was, like, completely shit-faced. And he drove her to a location near his house, and she passed out. So he said in the police interviews, he just put the cable tie, the plastic tie thing around her, and she didn't even, like, do anything, because she was passed out. And he said later that it's like it only took about a minute and a half for her to go unconscious, and just a little longer than that, like, for her to stop breathing. Like, she didn't seem to really know what hit her, which, like I said, probably better for her, but Jesus Christ. I'm not entirely sure, because, like I said, I've seen different things about this. I don't know because I know he took that one body that he cut the legs off. I know he took her back to the house. I thought he might have taken this woman back to his house too, but I'm not entirely sure, because I've seen different accounts of it. But whatever the case, whether he took her back to the house or whether he did it at the site or whatever, he took all of her clothes off, and then he cut up, like, started slashing at her boobs, and then cut her left nipple off. And then also she had a tattoo on her right thigh that he apparently really liked, so he cut that out. Ooh, gonna cape that. Whatever. And he also, this is pretty fucked up, he also cut off her arm at the elbow, her left arm, and reportedly took this arm home with him and used it to jack off with the hand. Yikes.
Yeah.
This woman also, he put her in a bunch of different positions and took a whole bunch of pictures of her, which they found later. And also tried to eat part of this one, but again, didn't enjoy it. He kept trying though, didn't he? What the fuck? The part about cutting the arm off and then taking it home is like essentially like a jerk off toy. It's just like that. Jesus fucking Christ. That was like Ted Bundy shit. Like, oh, I'm keeping the severed head so I can put my dick in their mouth. Jesus, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is wrong with you? So, like I said, I'm not really sure if he took this body to his house or whatever, but after all of that, he puts the body in the trunk when he's done with it, and while he's driving to the dump site, he takes the arm and the chunk with the tattoo on it that he had cut off and just basically chucked it out the window, like while he was driving, because he was done with it, and then dumped the rest of her body in like a drainage canal. So her body was found in February 27th, 2004, south of the Louisiana State University. Now, interestingly, this woman, Donna Johnston, had been a police informant for many, many years. So when they found her body, they immediately recognized her because, you know, she was very familiar to them. She'd been an informant for a really long time. And they were just like, who the fuck? And I don't know if them knowing her kind of contributed to them, oh, we better get off our asses and, like, investigate this more. I'm not really sure. Now, so the thing about it is that he actually told a woman who had been friends with Donna Johnston later on that it's like, oh, you know, I don't know why I do what I do. I'm just pure evil. He's like, look, your friend was really drunk. I don't think she knew what was happening to her. But he did tell this woman that it's like her last words were, I can't breathe. So she apparently did know kind of what was happening to her. But he said one of the things that he said in the letters to her, she actually ended up, she's, the friend has sadly passed away now, but she actually turned all these letters that he had written to her over to the police before his trial. He said, I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I was in a real bad place. Yeah, evidently. I was pure evil that night, the night that he killed Donna. No love, no compassion, no faith, no mercy, no hope. They said that he blamed it on the fact that he hated God. I was like, fuck off. Fuck off. What the hell kind of shit is that? Now, about 2 months after Donna Johnston was killed.
Wait, well, hold on.
What?
Donna Johnston, that was the girl that he put the zip tie on the neck when she was...
He did that to all of them.
Did it to all of them. Okay, but that was the one that was drunk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So she did wake up and say, fucking, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
Man.
So maybe she wasn't as out of it as they thought.
She woke up asking for help.
Yeah. But
man, that's sad.
He told her friend later, it's like, oh, she didn't know what happened to her.
Well,
but then he said, that was her last words, I can't breathe. He told her friend that in a letter.
Yeah.
This guy. So yeah.
It's wild shit.
So less than 2 months after...
Dude needed his ass beat.
Yeah, I hope somebody beat his ass in prison multiple times.
Yeah, they know who he is. They probably know who he is. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So less than 2 months after Donna Johnston's murder, they had taken where her body was dumped. They actually found a pretty clear tire track. And then, they took a cast of it and all that. Now, it turned out that this tire track came from kind of a rare type of tire. Matter of fact, only 90 of these tires have been sold in the entire state of Louisiana. So it wasn't really that hard for them to narrow down because they had also had witness statements saying that that it was a white Cavalier. So it's like, well, obviously how many people have a white Cavalier with those particular tires on it? And it was pretty quick like that they narrowed it down to this motherfucker. Now, so after they narrowed it down to Sean Gillis, the cops picked him up for questioning. Now, they come to his house and are like, hey, we found your tire track at this site where a body was dumped, yada, yada. You come downtown and we'll ask you some questions. Now, reportedly, he said something about, oh, well, let me let my girlfriend know where I'm going in case I don't come back tonight. And they said that when they took him out, they were in the driveway of his house, like going to put him in the car. And they said that he asked if he could smoke a cigarette, and they said, yeah. And then he puts the cigarette out, and then he said, let's get this shit over with, quote unquote. That's what he said.
He was ready to go.
So here's the thing. So they take him down there and they start questioning him. They're like, bro, we found your tire track, like where this body was dumped. Now, initially, he denied involvement in this murder. They're like, oh, well, I was at my friend's house and I drank a bunch of beers and I really had to piss. And so I pulled off there to pee. And so that's why my tire track is there. So the cops are like, but isn't your house just like right here? Wouldn't it have been like quicker to just like drive to your house and pee like a normal ass person instead of like driving to this remote ass area, which is actually a little bit farther? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I was drunk and like I wasn't really thinking straight. Now, I saw a couple documentaries point out this is kind of, I don't know how common it is, but I think that's like a well-known thing that some guilty people will do, is that they think if they confess to a lesser crime, in this case, drinking and driving, then the cops will think, oh, this is an honest person. And if they say they didn't do the bigger crime that we're accusing them of, then they didn't do it. Because they're being straight with me because they already confessed to doing something illegal, just not something that's as big a deal, right? So I think he was trying to pull that. But like I said, the cops didn't buy the story because they're like, dude, if you had to pee that bad, you could have just gone to your fucking house. It was like right there. You know what I mean? It was like actually farther to go where you said you went to go pee rather than just going to your fucking house. But they didn't have any physical evidence. They're like, okay, but will you give us a DNA sample? And he said, sure. He willingly gave them a DNA sample. They didn't have to sneak or nothing.
They already had that damn hair.
So it's like, yeah. So they already had his DNA profile on, from skin and pubic hair and shit like that from like some of the crimes before. They just never had anybody to match it to. So they asked him, hey, can we have a DNA sample? And he said, yeah. So he gave it to them willingly. So he was allowed to go home. Now his girlfriend said, she's like, she knew something was up. She wasn't sure what. I don't know at this stage if he had told her what he was accused of. But she said he came home and he actually spent the night with her, like watching movies with her and like went to bed with her instead of just going on the computer like he would normally do. So she's like, huh, what the fuck's going on?
You're trying to get as much of it as she
could. It was
before he
so
was
she thought something was a little sus because like usually he just goes on the computer and beats off and like I just go to bed by myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by the next day though, they had matched that DNA profile to evidence recovered from several of the victims. So basically that day, the cops and the SWAT team and everything busted in the house. And him and Terry were still in bed. Terry was completely blindsided. She said the first thing when they said, hey, you're under arrest for murder, blah, blah, blah. And she said to the cops, boy, have you got the wrong house. That's what she said.
Yeah.
She couldn't believe it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they took him down there. They're like, look, we got your DNA. Fuck you. So then later, they had a search warrant for the house, obviously, as they would in this situation. In the house, they found, let's do a little list, shall we? Yeah. All the shit they found in the house. 7 saws, a hacksaw, a bunch of knives, machete, plastic zip ties of the same type that were used in the murders, several external hard drives, 4 computers, computer scanner, photographs of Johnny May Williams' dead body, a 14-inch bayonet, a wooden club, 6 Playboy Pocket Playmate books, newspaper clippings about Derek Lee's final victim. One of his computers also had a bunch of files on it. One of them was called Best of Snuff, Beheadings and Hangings. Yeah. Nice. And Manson Murders. He had another file of exclusively Russian necrophilia. Had a whole bunch of books about
Russian necrophilia.
Yeah.
Why didn't know that existed.
Russian necrophilia?
How did that? I didn't hear about that. I guess the fucking the fucking morgues were not safe in Russia.
I don't know. Yeah, why specifically Russian necrophilia? They have necrophiles everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why. In the 1990s, the collapse of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, true.
So nobody had any fucking money. And man, all kinds of fucking weird-ass porn came out of there in the 90s just because people just couldn't eat. So maybe if you had access, if you worked in a morgue and had access to fucking dead bodies, then yeah, you could make money that way. Let's fuck these dead bodies and fucking sell it. Sell, yeah, and really, in the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union of the '90s, they probably couldn't do anything to you legally, because what was legal or what was not legal was fucking very much up in the air. Everybody was just broke. It was like an apocalypse. The poor fucking Russians, man. Yeah, which is, and that's how I met Vadim. I was good friends when I was in the goth scene in Boston with a dude named Vadim Konyev. I showed Jenny a picture of him. He goes, God, he's cute. And he was a Soviet soldier, and just like me. And he fucking ran from the Soviet Union, got the fuck out of there after the collapse, and it ended up in Boston. And we became good friends in fucking Man Ray in Boston, the fucking goth club. And he was a fucking good-looking Russian Jewish dude. Had fucking long black hair, parted in the middle, went down to his waist, surrounded by women. He owned his own little computer store where he was refurbishing fucking PCs and upgrading them and selling them, which that was something you could do in the 90s. This is probably around, 95 to 97. When he ran from the fucking Soviet Union, he showed up in the fucking United States without a pot to piss in. He was so good looking that a Boston fucking stripper from the fucking around the combat zone area adopted him and fucking moved him into her house, so he could get on his feet. And she was the one that got him to grow his hair long, fucking got him cool fucking clothes and shit. And he started his own business. He's a real cool dude. Fucking, he was in the Russian army for a couple years. And we tell army stories, but he was like the only other ex-military guy in the goth scene at that time. Man, we had so much fun. He lived in a fucking 4-story house outside fucking Boston. I think it was in Somerville. And it was a whole fucking 4-story house full of fucking strippers. And he looked like Armand from fucking... Jen saw a picture of him. He goes, oh, he's cute.
I don't remember what he looks like, though.
Yeah. He's living in Germany now. But, yeah, he told me all about the fucking shit that went in during the collapse of the Soviet Union. He was in service when it collapsed. Like in 1990. Or 91. I don't remember exactly when it collapsed. But, yeah, they suffered badly. So a lot of the shit that the Russians doing today is because of all the hell that they went through during the collapse, where they just couldn't survive, man. They didn't know anything how to make money. They were just totally dependent on the state. When that went away, they would do anything to survive. Poor girls. They had girls fucking selling themselves into fucking basically sex slavery into the Middle East. Never came back. Horrible. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Papa said what we were talking about before. Like, I think you were in the bathroom, but he said possessing something and loving something or someone are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely, like I said, I'm not sure. I didn't get a good read on this dude because, like I said, BTK for sure. I don't think that he was capable of loving a person like a normal person could. I think he just thought of them as like possessions, or like, I made these, or these are mine. So I'm not going to fuck with that. This guy, I'm not really sure. Did he really love his girlfriend? I don't know. She didn't really seem... She thought he was super sweet and he was like the perfect boyfriend. Like, she never suspected that anything was weird about him. So I don't know like how he was able to be on his best behavior around her all the time, unless there were a bunch of like red flags that she was missing. Which I don't know because I wasn't there. But it's just kind of like... I don't know. He does seem capable of some measure of empathy, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of interested in if these people are even capable of feeling the way
And no, I don't think
normal people can. No. I'm sure it's on a spectrum like everything else is. But I think to a large degree these people can't.
Yeah, there was about a year ago, they had a fucking online fucking kind of like an internet meme where people were calling each other NPCs. And somebody said that, oh no, people are not NPCs. And they actually had somebody from the psychiatric community came in and says, oh no, there are human beings that are NPCs. That they're not really humans and they don't really have the consciousness that you think that they do. And it's these guys.
Yeah, like serial killers.
Yeah, they're and they're NPCs, and there's more common than you think they are. These are just the worst of them. These are the ones that are into weird sexual stuff where people have to die so they can get off. And that's actually just a small piece of it. If you looked at Dennis Rader's life, he would be totally normal if it wasn't for the murders that he was committing. Yeah. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people who are just like him who aren't killing people, but they're NPCs. They just go through life with a very limited form of consciousness, no introspection. It's just they're just going through the motions. They're a machine-like person. They're people, though. So we're not saying because they just don't have a very high level of consciousness. We're not all the same. Just how it is.
Like I said, everything's on a spectrum.
Everything's on a spectrum.
But right. I just always suspect people that do shit like this.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're capable of feeling.
No, they're NPCs.
The same way that normal people.
Yeah, they're non-player characters.
Because, dude,
yeah. The reason why they have no empathy is because they don't have a sense of self to speak of either. So how are they going to relate to other people? They can't see other people as people because they're not people, as you know it.
Yeah.
So they're just projecting, and they know there's something wrong with them. So ones like this. So they start fucking doing weird shit.
Yeah, this guy seemed to be able to put on a front for his girlfriend. She believed that he was normal and that he loved her, and they lived together a long time. So I guess he was good at faking it.
Yeah. It didn't satisfy him to fake it, though.
But that always kind of
falling apart. Yeah.
Because I guess that's like hard to maintain.
Yeah.
You can't just run around being a fucking werewolf all the
time. I think they're doing this shit so they can feel something. Because they don't really feel anything.
Yeah, it could be. Which that would be really fucking scary. And I will note too that not everyone that is a sociopath or a psychopath kills people. It's a lot more common than you think, just psychologically. Right. But not all of those people are serial killers. Some of those people are, function in life. Yeah. But they don't feel emotions the same way that normal people do.
Jen actually described it or explained it better than I could. He's an NPC, but there's a lot of other ones that are NPCs. They just don't happen to be killing people.
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick talked about it in fucking Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, which is what Blade Runner was built upon. In that original story, fucking Roy and the replicants tortured animals and spiders and insects and shit because they couldn't really feel empathy. So they were NPCs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are like that.
Yeah. I mean, in common parlance, if you said that, I think most people would understand what you were talking about. But like I said, it's people that just don't have any empathy or can't put themselves in another person's shoes.
Right.
So whatever they do to somebody else doesn't matter because they don't feel anything about it.
Yeah. They're just like a machine.
Which, like I said, is really scary.
They're reptilian.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. But yeah, so they found all this shit in this dude's house, like all the snuff porn, all his fucking knives, and all this other kind of shit. They also sprayed luminol in his kitchen, and they said, and this is a quote, lit up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. Like he had cleaned it up, obviously, because he brought at least one victim, but maybe two, like back to his house and like dismembered them in his house, in his kitchen. So obviously there was blood everywhere, but he'd cleaned it up. But when they spray luminol, they can still see it. So they said it was fucking luminol, just like blood everywhere. Now, initially, he got charged for 3 murders. Catherine Hall, Johnny Mae Williams, who was his friend, and Donna Bennett Johnson, who was this last victim. Now, evidently, knowing he was cooked after, they're like, hey, we got your DNA. Even though initially he denied it by saying, oh, my tire track was there because I had to pee or whatever. Like, once they said, hey, we know it was you, he's just like, okay. And then he just wouldn't shut up. Like they said, he just talked and talked and talked. And they said he talked for 40 hours. I think that I think he liked having an audience.
Yeah.
And he described the murders in great detail. Like I said, they were initially just charging him with 3, but he confessed to 5 more.
Yeah.
And
he was like doing life anyway.
Yeah, and he was like not And it's, like I said, please go watch the shit because it's like see if you can articulate it better than I can. It's like I said, he doesn't come across as like cocky or arrogant or anything like that, but he comes across almost like, it's kind of weird because you can tell that thinks that he's impressing these cops, but he's also kind of coming across as sort of wide-eyed. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this kind of stuff, but that's just the way I am. What are you gonna do? You know, he kind of comes across like that, and it's kind of hard to explain because I've never really seen another killer that had that same affect. So
pretend like he's surprised by it.
I'm kind of, yeah, like almost. Well, because he's just kind of like, he didn't really know. At one stage, he said, you know that story, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty? He's like, it was like that, but it was like the Secret Life of Sean Vincent Gillis. You know what I mean? Like he was like having this like fucking secret life going on. And like I said, you could tell that he was, I don't want to say he was like edgelordy because he wasn't very obviously like overtly like trying to impress them, but the way that he said it, you could tell that he was I think he kind of liked the fact that he was maybe shocking them. Although obviously they're cops, so they're not going to get like really shocked about it. It's like, yeah, we deal with these stupid motherfuckers all the time. So
well, you deal with a person who,
but I think it was the first time
unassuming
that he could talk about it and he was getting attention and someone was listening to him.
Yeah.
And I think that he enjoyed that a lot.
That's all that is. Because you're dealing with a person that, had he not committed these murders, would have been totally invisible. Just like a very fucking mundane person. This is the only thing that was unusual about him.
Yeah, that's what everybody said. They said he was the fucking normalist. Right. Like, if you just saw him, he just looked like a normal ass
This type of dude doesn't
beige dude.
This type of dude doesn't like that.
No.
They want to be a center of attention.
They want to be
important.
Super man.
Yeah. So they're trying to be more than what they are.
But they can't be good at anything.
No. The
so
quality
they just
isn't
have
there.
to destroy shit.
Yeah. The quality isn't there.
It's just kind of like these mediocre dudes that are like, well, I'm not good at anything.
Yeah, right. Well, one of the things I think is like a common thread amongst serial killers is, the motive is always sexual, and they're always going after women that they wouldn't normally be able to get under fucking normal means, usually.
Yeah.
Fucking... And then, like, some of them are kind of like using street walking fucking prostitutes as placebo. You know what I mean? Fucking, they want more than that, but they don't have access to more than that.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of serial killers are just kind of like, well, prostitutes are just going to get in your car. Like,
they'll get in the car with you, and you can take it. But that's because even like the higher end serial killers, like fucking what's his name, Ted Bundy he laughed at the Green River Killer, said he's a bottom feeder. Anybody can get those girls. My girls were all fucking hot, beautiful college women. You know what I mean? So they're very...
Like I said, they're kind of competitive.
Very much into, like, judging one another on who it is. You know what I mean? He thought, he thought he was
I'm
Romeo.
Obviously the superior. Yeah, I'm serial killer.
I get good girls.
Yeah.
I kill good girls.
I can talk them into coming anything. With me.
Right. They're fucking NPCs, though. Fucking... The girls that he was... That fucking Bundy was... fucking bashing in the back of a head and stuffing them into his fucking Volkswagen Bug. He might be able to get them to go on a date with him. He could never seal that deal. He didn't...
No, because most of the women that knew him thought he was a weirdo.
And then he wasn't going anywhere with his career. He wasn't any good at school. Fucking, he was a fraud.
He was one of those motherfuckers that pretended to be a lot smarter than he actually was. He was kind of one of those... Yeah.
He's a fraud. He couldn't deliver.
Yeah.
He couldn't deliver on it.
Yeah, he was just a mediocre motherfucker.
Yeah.
But he was trying to be like some big
any kind of active fucking violent rapist, or when really that's all a serial killer is he's a rapist that kills the victim. They're always going for women that are unattainable to them by any other means. They're just doing it by force. Like, fuck all this bullshit. I'm going to take it. So it's more like thievery. They're stealing it. And then to get rid of the witness, they kill her. So they're not normally the guy that you go out with.
Well, yeah, I would hope not. But yeah, I mean, they tend to be losers.
Losers.
If they weren't losers, they wouldn't be doing this
shit.
Yeah,
and the best one was Bundy. If you looked at him from the surface, he wasn't bad looking, and he was in college, and he did shit, but that was all very superficial. He was in college and failing.
Yeah.
He looked good, but he couldn't maintain a relationship. There was a lot of shit wrong with that dude. Fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, well, they've kind of romanticized his fucking ass. He used to fucking take up fucking decapitated heads home with him and fuck them heads.
Yeah.
And put up on the mantle.
Nothing
He was a
romantic
fucking
about
scuzzbag.
that. Yeah.
He was a fucking scuzzbag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to remind people of that at every opportunity. There's
do
nothing
not for 1 second try to
about
fucking
Ted
make
fucking
these.
Bundy.
Do not fucking make.
He was a necrophile.
He was a necrophile
and a pedo.
and a pedo. Yeah. Yeah. And would kill a begging 13-year-old girl.
Even though he'd never admit it, he did that
he's
shit.
fucking low,
He did that
extremely
shit,
low. And he wasn't intelligent. He was just smart enough to fool other people and to pretend that he was.
Like I said, and a lot of women that knew him, they weren't fooled. They thought he was super creepy. Like other dudes would hang out as like, yeah, he's an alright guy and stuff. Women were like, no thanks.
Yeah.
They got bad vibes off that.
But if you peel off of some of the superficial, he's a dude like this.
Yeah.
Just a loser.
It's just, it is fascinating to me that it's like, that you could know somebody for a long time and then they could turn out to be a serial killer like you didn't. I mean, I don't know. I guess it happens. But yeah, a lot of them, like I said, it's always about, it always seems to come back to some kind of insecurity. It's insecurity and almost always mommy issues. This dude had mommy issues big time. I mean, like I said, his mom, and I'm not blaming her. I mean, she did the best she could. You know, she got left a single mom. Her husband was a nutcase. And she got kind of left with the fallout. So you can't really blame her. She did the best she could do, I'm imagining. But the fact that she coddled the kid probably didn't help. I mean, would he have turned out to be a serial killer anyway? Maybe. There's really no way of knowing that. I don't think it was necessarily just her coddling him, because a lot of kids are coddled and they turn out okay. But it's like, you know, there has to be a lot of factors going on. But it didn't help. Because, like I said, I think he learned from a young age that he could get away with anything. But, you know. So, like I said, I think initially, he wasn't convicted of the 8 murders, but his body count is generally 8 murders, because that's how many he confessed to. Did he kill more than that? Maybe. But that's all the ones that he confessed to. So he actually did get convicted of 3 first-degree murders and 1 second-degree murder. That was Joyce Williams. And got a life sentence. Actually, they were thinking about the death penalty, but I guess the jury, in the penalty phase of the trial, the jury deadlocked. You know, they couldn't decide whether they wanted life in prison or death penalty, so they just gave him life in prison. So he is still alive. I believe he's 62, 63 now, something like that. And he is at Louisiana State Penitentiary. And maybe, I don't think they let them watch these shows, but you know what I mean? So we're talking about him, and he's a fucking loser. So, you know what I mean? Now, crazily enough, just as a little coda. So we talked about Sean Gillis, and we talked about there was another serial killer, Derek Todd Lee, who was going on in Baton Rouge at the same time. There was also a third serial killer operating in Baton Rouge at around this same time period, though for some reason there's a lot less information about him. His name was Jeffrey Lee Guillory, and he was actually arrested in late 2009 after DNA linked him to 3 murders in Baton Rouge. Florida Edwards, who was murdered in 1999, Sylvia Cobb, who was murdered in 2001, and Renee Newman, who was murdered in 2002. Now, he actually got indicted for first-degree murder, but he got convicted of second-degree murder in the killing of Renee Newman, and I think that he's only been convicted in that case. Now, he also got another 40 to 50 year sentence for like something else, like a second-degree robbery, but he was operating at the same time in the same, there's not as much, I guess, because it was only 3 victims and the other 2 killed a lot more, but he was also a black man. So 2 black guys and 1 white guy, and it's like Baton Rouge, 90s to early 2000s, fucking 3 of them, and Baton Rouge is not a huge city.
No.
So the fact that there are fucking 3 serial killers, like, at the same time operating is kind of crazy. It's kind of reminds me, remember that show we did a long time ago about London, Ontario?
Yeah.
In Canada? And how for a brief time period, well, it wasn't even brief, it was like a decade or two, where it was kind of considered weirdly like the serial killer capital of the world. There was like a whole bunch of them in that time, and a bunch of like weird unsolved murders and shit. It just seemed like it was one of those weird things that happens. I'm actually kind of fascinated by the whole, I don't remember what they call it, but it's like a geographical, where they do like geographical shit about why certain, like, there's little pockets of serial killers that turn up now and then, like in, like, sometimes you know why, you know, like California for, like, in the, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, like California, it's like, oh, you know, everybody was moving out there, Hollywood.
All the wild motherfuckers.
Yeah, like all the hippies and stuff like that. So it's like there was, like, obviously.
It attracted people.
And if you attract people, you're going to attract people that are going to prey on those people. So it's like that wasn't a mystery.
It's the same thing with Florida. Florida attracts people from all over. And some of the wildest, crazy motherfuckers all throughout the South end up in Florida or in Louisiana. Like Baton Rouge and fucking New Orleans. High crime rates. And there's been crime happening there for a long time. There's a lot of ghettos there. And this shit's been going on for 100 years. You know. So, it's just, you're going to have crime.
Yeah. It's just, it is interesting to me, like, though. Yeah. I think that was why I was so fascinated by that London, Ontario thing, which, like I said, for a short time was like the serial killer capital. I don't know if the world, but a lot of crazy serial killer murders. There was a bunch of them operating in that area, like in a relatively short time period. And so to me, it seems this is kind of on a smaller scale. This is sort of a similar thing. It's 3 guys with not the exact same MO, but a similar MO. Going after the same type of victims. Although I will say that Sean Vincent Gillis, he didn't really, I don't want to say discriminate, that's not exactly the right word, but he would just kind of take whoever. Like I said, the first victim he attacked was just this old woman at a retirement apartment. He just walked into her apartment, and he attacked a lot of sex workers, but he also attacked like this kind of wealthy woman that was just jogging one day, and he was just kind of like an opportunist. But the fact that there were 3 of them in this relatively small city in this relatively short time span is pretty crazy. Because even at the worst of times, you know, how many serial killers do they estimate are operating now in the entire United States? I'm not sure. I don't have that data. It's not as many as it was, though. Serial killers have kind of... That's kind of gone downhill. They're still out there, but there's not as many.
That particular time of the South that was there during this time, it was weird. It was kind of like the end of the old South and the beginning of the new South. Internet started to come into play. More money, more movement. People moving into the South. So it started, I don't know, it's kind of like, so you had a mixture of new people coming in, money and fucking internet power starting to increase, so it's getting more exciting. Internet porn, fucking, you got all kinds of good entertainment, great movies, clubs, everything coming. And then you still have people that were fucking from ghettos and trailer parks getting caught up in it. And they're like something from another time. So it's kind of like a clash between 2 civilizations, like old and new coming together. And it's like a culture clash. Something like that. You know what I mean? It was a weird time. I remember that time.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I said, the
serial killers were like something from the past that was kind of like something from the 70s.
Yeah, it's like, I think the peak was 70s, 80s. Like, by the time the 90s had come around, the crime rate, not just serial killers, but all crime, started, like...
going down.
Precipitously descending. Yeah. And there's been tiny little spikes, but it's not anywhere near what it was back then.
So it could be marginalized people were starting to feel more marginalized because they were poorer and dumber than other people, but still more aggressive than other people. So they could come in and take advantage of the new, more open world. That's the only way I can.
I mean, I'm sure
I was there at the
of,
time. I'm trying to fucking turn it into like an emotional thing. It's kind of like
a lot of factors.
Imagine barbarians who've been there for a long time now being cut loose because of fucking the liberation of more money and technology, and I mean, they can now move more freely or something like that. There's no, I don't know. I can't.
I mean, like I said, we've talked about it before. It's like the onset of the internet, I'm sure, was a huge thing.
Yeah. Change.
The phasing out of leaded gasoline was probably a big factor also.
Yeah.
Because you know how much they like lead in the environment fucks your brain up.
Yeah.
And they slowly took that out. So, sadly, we're Gen X, so I kind of feel like we probably still have that. Because it didn't really start going down until later. I think the boomers have it worse, but we might get bad too when we get their age. I don't know.
I remember this.
Papa says, as of 2010, which was a long time ago, they say 50 are active. So that's a lot, like one per state, but that's not nearly as many as, because I kind of feel like prior to that, like in the 90s, it was like, easily twice that. So
there used to be several per state.
Yeah,
I think is what the number.
Yeah, and Grandler said violent crime continues to plummet. Yeah, it's been going downhill. Like I said, there's tiny spikes. But if you look at a graph of like violent crimes, not just serial killings, but just violent crimes in general, it's been going steadily downhill since the 90s. So it's like down, and then like, a little bit, but it's not anywhere like it was back
Internet
then.
has changed the game because there's a lot more easier flow of information. Anything you want to know, you can find out. So let's say you were born unlucky to a family of dumb fucks that don't have any damn money, and you're a little kid. You can get on the internet. If you ask questions, you'll be able to find out all kinds of stuff, and your brain will develop. So you're in a much higher information environment than we were in growing up as these kids. So what would happen is that now because of the internet, talent, mental talent can start rising to the top because they're not undergoing the same negative influences of having all the information shut off to them. So I've been seeing people fucking on the internet making things from places, and I'm like, how's this bitch know this? Well, the internet.
Well, yeah, everybody knows everything.
And everybody knows everything now. Okay, but it wasn't like that back then.
No.
Like, for instance, we're from the goth scene. You got black dudes that know everything about goth music. He would have never known that shit back in the 90s. That was only white subcultures, and there was no internet for them to even fucking be able to get involved in it. He knows all the bands and into the shit and everything, and it's just amazing. Then you got black girls getting into the goth scene. And because they have internet. That never would have happened.
I tell you what,
back in the day.
We met our friend Nick at Mannequins a long time ago. And he was what, 21?
21. He's a good-looking white kid, 21. He knew everything.
He knew
all the bands.
Everything. Like obscure shit. Like little death rock shit and stuff. I'm like, you're a child. How do you fucking know? Well, I know how he knows it, but it's like, it's crazy.
Before the internet, you would have only known that if you were in the scene and you had all the friends to
point
you in the
right
direction. It was
like
work
to find that shit. It wasn't easy.
So we're in a much higher information environment.
It's kind of better. I know people shit on the internet. Yeah, it has downsides. Obviously, everything does. But I don't know. I like it better. Like, it's a lot easier to access stuff. It was kind of a pain in the ass back then.
And so what that does is a higher information environment helps fucking allow people to rise to their appropriate level. Okay, they're not being oppressed by their families or their fucking.
Well, they can find other people online that are into the same shit. Yeah. They can at least, if they can't meet them face to face, at least they have somebody to talk to.
If you look throughout human history, it's never really governments that improve people or liberate people. It's always technology. Yeah. It was the printing press that that liberated the white man because
we could read.
Because we could now read. And the thing is you could now print a book that the church didn't approve.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of shit that
they could cry about it all they want.
Technology
and they still do,
always is the liberating factor. And technology, fucking the internet and next AI is going to do things that are just fucking amazing.
We'll see. It'll probably do some bad shit too, but like I said, I'm ambivalent about it
period.
because, it's just like everything. That's why I don't get too positive or too negative about stuff. Because it's like, everything has an upside and a downside. Yeah. We just have to see how this is going to, because you can't stop it. Yeah. It's just, that genie's out of the bottle. Yeah. So it's just kind of like you just have to like mitigate the bad effects and figure out, I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
And looking at serial killers, I always saw them as a product of low information environments. They're isolated. That's the thing. They have fucking bad influences in one way or the other, active or inactive, and the parents that do shit to them or parents that don't do shit. There's no way out for them. They're very isolated. They develop personalities that go into these weird fetishy kind of fucking...
And they don't have anybody else to
talk to.
Normalize it. Yeah. Which, like I said, if they were in a community that's like, it's not that weird.
You're right. Or you're like, hey, and there's somebody checking them.
Or somebody saying, hey, that's fucked up. Right. Like, what's your deal?
Yeah, and if
Get therapy.
And if they had a lot of friends, a lot of that shit wouldn't happen. So,
because you'd have somebody to, like, put a check on your behavior. Like
right. So... That's one of the reasons why their numbers are dwindling. There'll always be some, but...
Yeah, because there's all... Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't...
Now, Gramther said Detroit had 700 homicides in 1980. Yeah. Now 200 a year, which, like I said, is a precipitous drop. Yeah.
Well, a lot of them killed each other off. I lived in Detroit also.
Too. Now, Gramther says weed is legal in most places now, so criminals now just smoke blunts and eat pizza rolls instead of robbing and killing.
Keep them sedated.
I mean, they just stay home and play video games, which, like I said, fine. And like I said, if serial killers want to stay home and just jack it to porn, and don't ever too lazy to go out and kill everybody, good. That's a win. Right. That's a win. I'm
not a huge fan of fucking drug addiction. I do not endorse drug addiction.
No.
But it's always very American. We had what was called up until recently right to bliss, which meant that it was your right to get high. It's your body. It's not anybody else's body. Now, if you kill somebody else when you're high, then you're liable.
Yeah, don't drive and shit, but it's like,
It wasn't until...
Just stay in your fucking house.
It wasn't until the end of the early 1900s when they got rid of right to bliss. Now, that was because a lot of people were fucked up on morphine or cocaine. They were addicted to that. But those people got addicted to that shit not really knowing what the implications were. It was a different world back then. And a lot of people got addicted to morphine and they didn't know it was morphine. They were sold a drug, a cure-all elixir for aches and pains or mental problems. And they drink that shit.
Wow, this is some good shit.
They didn't know it had morphine in it.
Right.
Okay, so there's a lot of shit.
I feel great.
From that, back in the late 1800s, they got this very anti-drug mentality, okay? But that situation is gone. If you want to get high, get fucking high. There's no difference between weed and alcohol.
No, I don't see any difference.
Yeah.
Weed actually, in a lot of ways, is probably better.
Now, I fucking, you don't want fucking, what's that, fentanyl? Fentanyl is just condensed, highly concentrated fucking heroin.
Yeah, no, you don't want that.
You don't need that. You don't need heroin. Morphine is good enough, or opium is good enough. Smoke opium. I've smoked it. It's a nice, mellow, fucking chill, fucking thing. A human can walk away from it.
Don't go anywhere. Just hang out in your house and fucking, if you want to.
The difference between opium and heroin is like the difference between fucking aspirin and heroin. You know what I mean? Fucking anybody can smoke opium and chill the fuck out, and then not want to smoke it the next day. You had opium dens, but they were living a life of misery and poverty, and they were just trying to
escape it. Which, like I said, can you fucking blame them?
Yeah,
God damn, I don't blame them one bit.
Yeah,
I would have done the same thing.
The situation is not the same, and the awareness of what drug addiction is didn't exist back then.
Like I said, it's a different framework. It's like people are a lot more aware of what the shit is, what it does.
Yeah, and what the pitfalls are.
Yeah, and what the pitfalls are. So it's just kind of like,
And they're the same as alcohol. If you can't walk away from a fucking drink, you don't need to be drinking.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Right.
But like I said, Most people
can though.
Can just drink like a couple times a week, and
Just
that's
not a
it.
big deal. Yeah.
And it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
So, you can't punish everybody just because a couple people
can't handle it. Yeah.
can't handle it.
It's just like you're gonna ban casinos because they got some people that get addicted to fucking gambling. That's on them. Because we're gonna ban cars because some people wreck them. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like I said, it gets to a point where it's just kind of like silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do?
You're gonna ban sex because some people get VD? Fucking say that. Crazy. Yeah.
Sorry, that just reminded me.
Yeah.
I was watching. I don't know why. Like we were just scrolling through movies, and I was just like, "Let's watch this." And Tom was like, "Yeah, let's watch this." So we watched Invasion of the Bee Girls.
Oh yeah, that's just
from 1973.
Yeah.
I was like, I've always heard of this movie, but I never watched it. Way sleazier than I was imagining. I think it was on Amazon Prime or something like that. And at one point, the whole premise of the movie, which is crazy, but there's just kind of like this whole... Well, I guess it starts out with one woman, but then she recruits other ones that are kind of like... Well, she's a bee woman. Yeah. And she recruits other ones and like has this... She's a scientist, and she kind of does this convoluted...
Stupid
thing
it's
with
an
a machine
excuse to show some other chick's boobs
and all.
And to
yeah,
rub on
I mean, there's a lot
boobs.
of nudity in this.
A lot of rubbing
but,
boobs.
To turn them into bees, and it's kind of a mating thing where it's like they fuck a dude and he dies.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing. So at some point, before they really know what's going on, like 3 or 4 dudes have died seemingly of heart attacks, but all after in the middle of sex acts. So at this press conference or whatever, the dude is like, okay, well, maybe everybody should just abstain from sex for a little while until we figure out what's going on. And we were laughing because like this one like chubby redneck dude stands up and is like, absolutely not. You know what I mean? It was just so funny that he just got so fucking... He gets killed later on.
Yeah.
It's an interesting movie. I don't know if I'd want to do a review of it because I don't know if there's like enough substance to it. I don't know. I enjoyed it. You fell asleep during some of it.
Yeah, I was fucking tired.
You missed like the gang rape scene. You missed all kinds of stuff.
I know. I missed. I was fucking tired, man.
You just fell
and I was
asleep.
laying down and fucking relaxed and shit. And I just started. I was having fun.
I was like making all kind of like MST jokes, and I was like, man, I'm like, I know we can even appreciate how funny I'm being.
I think Jen gets insulted that I fall asleep. But the thing is like you know how dudes are. Dudes, if dude falls asleep next to you, that's love. It is. It's just like, yeah, baby.
I was like, you watch. I'm making all kind of funny comments. I need somebody here to appreciate
like,
it.
Stop it! I'm sleeping.
You were snoring. Yeah. You were snoring though.
Yeah.
Not too loud. I could still hear the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, me too.
I got that food downstairs, man. Tell them what I made. Made pork tenderloin.
Oh yeah.
Pork tenderloin. And
we had
dill sauce.
So you guys, we have so much dill.
Yeah, I got a bunch of it growing out there.
You guys don't even know. Like in the garden, so much dill grew. And Tom comes in and he's like, what all can we do with dill? Because we have a lot.
Yeah. I got three bags of it.
So we were like looking up all these recipes for shit you could do with dill.
Pork tenderloin and fucking creamy dill sauce with potatoes.
It's really good. We had some
first
for lunch,
time I did,
like many hours. So yeah, it's the first time he's made this, but it was really good. I just thought it was so funny. He's like, dude, I have so much dill. Like,
yeah, what am I gonna do with this?
How much? He's like, you don't understand.
I fucking planned that shit. I had all kinds of dill fantasies. You know what I mean? But fucking, it's good though. I was for Greek food.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Because the first thing I thought, he's like,
I never get around to
tzatziki. Like you can make that with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we're not going to eat that much tzatziki. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, okay.
All right, so we're going to see them Friday, right?
Yes, we were going to do the show on Friday night, the Sidetrack show. So that's always fun. Obviously, if you're new here, which I don't think any of you are, but Sidetrack show is Friday night. We get drunk like we do on this show, but we don't have a topic. We just talk about whatever. So yeah, it's always a good time. And we're not going out on Friday. Yeah, we're doing Saturday night.
Doing Saturday.
Yeah, because it's Memento this Saturday. So we're not going out Friday night, so we can just like hang out for hours and hours.
Yeah, we'll drink with you guys
and get drunk and talk to you guys, and it'll be super fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this show this evening, talking about this fucking evil motherfucker. But yeah, you guys know I like the serial killer shows. I know you guys like those too. But yeah, so thank you everybody for hanging out with us this evening. Thank you for your super chats. Have a good day tomorrow, and we will see you guys again on Friday night. Good night.